I want y'all to see the words that are coming out of their mouths too.
See, that's what's wrong with people nowadays. They don't use their imagination, man.
What?
And man,
just listen.
Yo, listen to the show. This is your imagination.
Speak on it.
Look, we live. I'm gonna say part 2. I'm gonna try this again. That's what they do in the movies. When they making movies, they be like, take 2.
Take 2.
Somebody just saw something. Oh, that's YouTube. That was us. Okay, let's try it again. Y'all go to my page. I didn't tag nobody this time. I didn't even think about it. Part 2. Here we go.
Who the Selena person is beyond it. Okay.
Okay, let's try this. Rage, I'm gonna tag you on this second one, and you gotta. It's up to you to get it out to everybody. Now.
So much pressure.
I know. Let's see if it's working. Let's see if it's working. It's working. Damn it!
It's working. Let's see if it's working.
See, you heard that feedback? That means it's working. You assholes. Now make sure. Now look. As quick as y'all ass was on the post, talking about it ain't working. It ain't working. Don't punk out now, cause we about to get up in this shit. Now I'm gonna before we start asking questions to our poets and our leaders, I'm gonna take a shot. And I probably wouldn't have took the shot if he wasn't sitting in here. But I'm going to declare, I don't even know all the damn problems that's going on. Because people keep saying that there's problems in the Dallas poetry scene. But I'm just going to be a little messy while I sip my tea. And I'm going to blame, because you always got to find somebody that you blame it on. So tonight, I'm blaming it on Rage. I saw a post. Rage, I saw a post and I blame you. That's why I'm saying you are the root cause. And then I'm going to leave it with that. I'm going to let them talk.
Wow. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Shot fired. Look, shots fired.
You can blame everything on Rage.
It's Rage's fault. It's Rage's fault. All right. So who we going to start with?
I audited on my taxes last year. Rage.
I didn't make the slam team.
Bro, yo,
I keep pulling up on that though.
All right, so
I thought y'all were drinking I thought y'all had tea.
Yeah, it's tea.
yeah, it's tea.
What?
It's tea. It's mixed with something else, though.
What you say? It's a
Them,
Long Island.
It's not even Long Island.
them
Short
YouTube,
Islands.
It's an inlet.
Just a long
them damn YouTube numbers starting to pop up. Like,
Sixth Avenue.
Long
they ready.
Street.
They ready. Oh, they ready.
they ready.
Scenic route to Long Island.
So there's talk, there's rumor, there's thought that, and it's funny that when I finally got to see this one particular post, I had been seeing it for probably a few days, maybe a week or so, and I kept seeing that word toxic. And sometimes you see stuff and you just ignore it. You don't know what they're talking about. You don't know why people are saying it. Come sit your late ass down. And you don't know what's going on, and then you like, and then depending on who's saying it, you just kind of ignore it. So let's get into this whole toxic situation. First of all, let's start with Gino. Is it toxic?
It is not.
And somebody said he's gonna say that anyway because he doesn't believe that. Why from your perspective, why do you feel like people are saying that it's toxic?
Well, I think people are confusing that they're using codes. You know, you hear it every day when politicians they talk code. You say urban, that mean black. You know, so they're saying the poetry community, but what they're really focusing on is Dallas Poetry Slam.
Okay.
Because we are not the entire community. There are so many different open mics and readings and stuff, but they had a bad experience with Dallas Poetry Slam. So in code, they want to talk about the community and rally, a certain amount of people around them. We could be blamed for some toxicity that's going on across the other part of the city or somewhere else, like blaming it on Rage.
Right.
So it's really not toxic. There was a point in time where it wasn't well managed and well maintained, but that was several years ago. And we're under new management, and we have a whole different philosophy. We have a whole different take on customer service and all those things. We're trying to. It's not just a hobby for us, And I think that this person probably had, or people had old experiences. They're trying to bring it to the forefront now, or I don't know. But it's not toxic.
Cool. So, Candy,
you are. Tell people your affiliation with Dallas Slam.
I'm the executive director.
Okay. So, being that you are the executive director, anytime something is directed towards Dallas Slam, 90% of the time it's probably focused on you.
Probably.
So, is it personal or, like Gino said, in your mind, is it group?
So, if I could just provide some clarity, anytime you say Dallas Poetry, you're talking about Candy, Gino, members of the Dallas Poetry Slam, simply because we are the biggest poetry organization in DFW currently right now. So I also want to say, before I answer that question, that I think there's something to be said about any organization, not even a poetry affiliate, but any group, any church, any workplace where you have a group of people that come together. I think people come in looking for a need. They're searching for something. And that could be a person, that could be a fulfillment. And when that isn't met, like for an example, if you have a group of people that comes together and they're looking for a something, reaching a goal, and when that isn't met, I think people tend to internalize it and take it personal and have like getting their feelings about it. So for an example, if someone comes in and they're like, hey, I'm a new person, let's just say poet on the scene, and I hear this poet on stage doing a poem and I'm in love with that poem. So I'm in love with that poet. And then them and that poet have some intimacy and it doesn't work out. Then it's like, oh, I didn't get what I needed from this scene because I was looking for something that I didn't get in this person. But then now all of a sudden it's the whole scene to be blamed because you didn't specifically get what you were looking for personally. So what happens is, and it happens to all of us, it even happened to me, you tend to feel some kind of way about it. Well, damn, what did I miss? When in actuality, why come into a group looking for something? Why don't you come to the group adding something? Or come to the group saying, listen, what can I contribute to this organization? What can I contribute to this scene? So to answer your question, if people come and they're looking for something and they say, because I've had this several times, Candy didn't speak to me tonight. She must hate me. Not thinking, oh, well, you know what? Maybe I was working. Maybe I was more concerned with my son being here. Maybe I had something else to do. Or, you know what? Candy didn't hang out with me after the poetry open mic. Then, why is she so mean? Or maybe Candy had something else to do. Maybe it's, and I don't have to be friends with everybody that comes into the poetry scene. Gino doesn't have to be friends with everybody that comes to the poetry scene. Like, we are actually working. We have a job to do. So, and I think people miss that along the way. I think we have so many people that come into the scene looking for something, needing something. And if Gino or if me or if Rage or if that one particular poet don't fulfill that need, then all of a sudden I've seen in my experience, it becomes a community thing when it's really just a personal thing. And in actuality, you can, I'm at 7402 Greenville Avenue every Friday. My phone number is 214-577-1692. It's been the same for 20 years.
Wow.
I'm Sherry Zantia on Facebook. Wow. You can contact me at any day, at any time, if you feel like you have a personal issue with me. I have not had that since I've been in the poetry community. So
catch me outside.
It amazes me how some people chooses to make public posts or public statements and generalize things when they have not reached out to that person personally to address whatever issue they have with them. And then you want to say, oh, it's toxic. And to add to that, are we just going to disregard your part in the situation? Because a lot of people, sometimes when you're blaming somebody else, what they say is like three fingers pointing back at you. Yeah. So sometimes it's always a couple of sides to a story. And I find that the different people over the years who have tend to vent on Facebook or use Facebook as their therapist, they always seem to tell their one side of a story, but never seem to tell their part in what caused them to feel the way they feel. And, again, they never do that because we never want to tell the whole truth, right? Right? Yeah.
Damn, I thought I wanted to write a poem. I guess not.
If you're going to write the poem, write it right.
How about that?
Don't half-ass write the poem, write the whole poem.
Whole ass.
Like, it's I'm in poetry too. I guess
it's not really drama. It's just certain people who like to keep on drama. But I'm reminded, I'm a preacher's kid, so they say an idle mind is the devil's workshop. If you stay busy enough, you don't have time to worry about what's going on over here in Susie Q's yard, because Candy's got her own yard, or who's going on in John Doe's yard. It's like, we're busy. Like, if you focus on your destiny and your thing and what you're doing, you don't even have time to focus on things like toxic, which toxic in definition means harmful, dangerous, or poisonous. I can name about 30 things that we've done in the Dallas poetry community that has been helpful, encouraging, motivating, and has taken the Dallas poetry scene to the next level.
So that's non-toxic.
I mean, I want some receipts.
Hey.
I just want this beer. You can pay for it.
Cheers to that.
Okay, so on one of the posts that I read, someone was mentioning having, and this is something that I've heard someone use, before, having an environment that is safe. Tell me what that means.
Oh wow, that's
safe for poets, and I've heard this several times, and that was used in this current, rant or post.
Well, to answer that, I mean, there are places and venues and other spots that you need a safe place or a safe space for people who have different types of issues and ailments and stuff. And I'm not an expert on that side of it, but when it comes to like a safe space in slam, you have to provide your own safe space in a sense. And you have to understand, a lot of people just don't understand what slam is. Mm-hmm. People will say, oh, that person's he's doing slam poetry. There's no such thing as slam poetry. Slam is the venue that it happens in. Slam is competition poetry. So you can do loud, boisterous poems that are political and cuss people out, or you can do soft, romantic poetry. You can do erotic poetry. You can do whatever you want to. Mm-hmm. Slam is the venue. Slam is not the style of poetry. Okay. But people who are not educated to that fact say that's a style. Another thing that we have to separate is the difference between a slam, which is the venue, which is competition poetry, and an open mic.
Message.
So you can go to an open mic and just spill your heart and have your safe space and talk about all these different things you want to talk about. Slam, you're coming to compete. I was once at a slam and ESPN was there, and they said this is the sport of spoken word, and that would spark an epiphany for me, because it is. And the best analogy for slam for me, I was telling my colleagues earlier, is football. So when you first come, when you look at football, you have tryouts. And if you don't make the tryouts, what happens?
You get cut.
Okay. So then there's training camp. You don't make it in training camp, what happens?
You get cut.
Okay, cool. So so then you go into the, if you make the team, you go battle other teams and you win. You go to the Super Bowl of poetry, which is the nationals and all that whatnot. And you bring home your trophy and your rings and whatnot. But you got these people who come in there who and they don't make the team, don't necessarily get cut, but they don't make the team, but it's similar to a cut. Mm-hmm. And they feel that you have personally slighted them. You don't like them, the person they are. It's just that their poetry didn't make the cut with the audience that is giving the scores. So it's not the people around them who are competing with them or working with them. And then sometimes you have instances where a person makes a team and they're just not coachable. They're not coachable. And then it just doesn't work out. And then
so I can be a first round pick and end up being a bust.
Yeah, you could end up being a bust. And you can look at, like, say, the Cowboys. They're not going to invest that type of money in trying to make you the best when you're not there.
Right.
Poetry slam kind of in their coaching try to get you there. But if y'all just bumping heads, it's not working out. It just doesn't work out.
Can I add something to that? Two things. The first thing is, outside of Slam, the Dallas Poetry Sam has had several, at least 10 workshops for free in the Dallas poetry community that we've only had about 7 to 10 in attendance. These were workshops helping you in writing, helping you in performance, that you didn't show up to. We recently had Saul Williams come down, one of the greatest poets to ever grace the universe. And some of these poets who were complaining was not there. We just had Women of the World Poetry Slam, where we had national poets from all over the world, Kenya, Sudan, coming at the Majestic Theater, who did workshops, excuse me, all week. And some of these folks were not there. So it's not even Slam now. It's just the fact that it doesn't matter what you do. If you're not helping to build the building, you can't critique on the process. So it's like, if you're not coming to be helped, you can't say, well, there's a problem when you're not even a part of the community at all. So when Gino's talking about Slam, that's just a Slam thing. There are so many other events and other things that have happened outside of just the competition that people just don't come to. And that's personal. Whatever you do or don't do, that's fine. Then the safe space. So safe space was a word that was thrown around for folks who are trying to throw it around loosely. It was actually implemented in the PSI community about 3 to 4 years ago. And safe space was to protect the artists on stage saying their piece. So in other words, if you were doing a piece about homosexuality, if you were doing a piece about being domestic abuse, or if you were doing a piece about molestation, it protected you to do your poem in that environment and not get ridiculed or judged. So when I get on stage and I say we provide a safe space, that means the poet and the speaker has the platform to say whatever they say freely without being persecuted or judged. That's what safe space means. Okay. Now, when you get off that stage and you choose to interact outside of the poetry venue with John, James, Jill, and Jack, that has nothing to do with us. That is your own personal business, and that's what you do outside. But safe space protects the poet. We are not a hospital. We are not doctors. we are not counselors and advisors. We are here to promote poetry. Now, if personally you have some issues from when you was growing up as a child and you got some stuff you've been dealing with all your life, you've been going on, we can advise you to a professional that can help you, a therapist, someone who is skilled in that field. But I think what happens is people come in wanting the poet to be the doctor, and when you don't get healed, then all of a sudden you have an issue and someone has hurt you. But Candy I'm not a doctor in anything. What I am is a person who provides a platform for poets to speak their truth.
Wow. I had no idea it was
right.
I mean, like, seriously.
I thought the DJ world was really in Dallas was kind of, shaky, but damn.
So now I'm saying I knew it was more than just getting on stage and saying some more. It's a lot more. I know it's a lot more than that. But I had no idea it was, and that's because you don't know. It's not something I do. So
like he just educated me on what I thought Slam was a style of poetry. But well,
I kind of knew because I've seen you guys several times perform at different places. So I knew it was I kind of figured that Slam meant the competition. It was like a competition. This group, that group. Kind of figured that out along the way. But I didn't know that, I really learned a lot because I didn't know it was that deep. I know poetry is deep in itself, period. But I didn't know that all the things that you guys are talking about was going on in the poetry community. You know what I mean? Yeah. The workshops and
we do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I had no idea.
Because you're not in the community, so you wouldn't want to know. You're in another, arena. Right. But yeah, we have tons of stuff going on all the time. And it's amazing. I just think that with every successful person, you always have haters. Yeah. And I'm just going to call it what it is. I think it's just haters. I think it's just people that say, oh, well, you know what? You did Clyde Warren Park where you had over 1,000 in attendance, but you know what? I felt like the poetry could have been better. Or, y'all did y'all thing where y'all had some free workshops, but it was at Wilder, Texas, and it was too crowded. Or, you brought down Women of the World Poetry Slam, but, I don't really like Candy, so I'm not going to go. Like, why? But if you're a poet, if you're here for poetry, and that is your God-given gift that you claim you have, you shouldn't let not one individual stop you from being great.
So let me ask you this. So it's other poets that's being the haters, not just people.
The particular post that we're referring to came from a poet in the poetry community. Yes.
Oh, we talking about. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was a post that was made that kind of sparked this. Now, that poet's post sparked it, but then we noticed that there was other kind of posts or people getting on stage lingering around it as well. Yeah. So we said it was time for the address it. Let's just talk about it.
And like I said,
I encourage that person, if they're listening or they have friends that listen, to call in. Let's call in and talk about it. Like I'm
and we do have a number 214-730-3992 if y'all want to call in.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I want to know. I didn't know it was a pop. Okay.
But it's so that one sparked it. But like I said, I wouldn't consider myself active in the poetry community.
Right.
But I am a poet and I'm known as a poet. So when I've been seeing the word toxic, linked to poetry, and I just stay out of it because when I was younger, we went through stuff, similar stuff. It was always something. Back then, slam wasn't as big as it is now here in Dallas. Like we didn't know about it. And in fact, when I would hear the word slam, it was only one person that I knew. It was, two people that I knew. It was you and Clevo. It was the only one. So when people said slam, I was just like, oh, that's what Gino and them do. I don't know nothing about it, so I can't say I like it or dislike it. I don't know enough about it. But even with the open mic scenes, we had drama going on. There's always issues. Somebody had an issue with this person or this place, or you didn't want to, you felt like this person was talking about something that didn't matter. I want to address the safe space because somebody made a comment and said a safe space is specific to the person. So what's a safe space? Damn, that's fucking me up right now. Yeah, to some, as that damn vodka, in my tongue, y'all better be careful. To some, isn't a safe space for others. So that brings me back to, outside of that, like I understand what you were saying as far as if it's somebody who is LGBT and you want to make sure that they know that you can get up on stage and you're not going to get bashed in this place. If you come into a predominantly black venue and you're white, we're not going to be bashing you, even though you may hear poems that may scare the shit out of you. Like I've been in spots and I hear a Rage do a poem and I see white people out there. I'm like, they about to run up out of here.
Welcome.
No. But
he said you're welcome.
But I'm just messing with Rage. But there's been times where you have people from body.
Also in the origins of that, also what Candy was stipulating, it also ground zero for that is the LGBT community. Mm-hmm. So when you're coming on that stage, if you're transgender or anything of that nature, however you dress, if you wear a dress and people don't feel that's appropriate for your gender, in slam you come as you are,
right?
Okay. Be you, and that's primarily the ground zero origin of a lot of that. Where and also speak about what you want to in that instance. Now, a safe space, I think, what these other folks are dropping on is it's code again to me. They want to be able to do what they want to do without anyone saying anything about it. And in general, we don't. But they feel if they're not accepted or brought into the fold in some kind of way. I go back to football once again. If you're the Cowboys and it's a bunch of people around the arena that love football and want to play, y'all not finna invite them to practice. Joe Blow and Jimmy John, who own the barbecue shack down the street, and Little Leonard, y'all not finna bring these cats into practice. Y'all got to get ready for the game. So all these people want to be a part of that collective. And like Candy was saying earlier, sometimes people come in there, find a poet, love the poem, fall in love with the poet. We got some poets out there, take advantage of the situation. And when that does not work out, it's like we boys. You get a girlfriend. And you got the rest of you guys around. we don't really get in y'all business like that. Yeah. Y'all break up, we not still hanging out with her. Call. We never called her in the first place, but she might feel that, you know, now y'all alienating her, and that's weird, isn't it? And that kind of awkward. Mm-hmm. That's the same situation we're kind of facing in the poetry community, and also early in, like Ty was saying, early off in when Slam was here and we had our open mics, there was kind of a separate kind of community. Mm-hmm. I do my Slam thing over here, me and Clevo, and then I run over and do my other thing on the other side of it at places like Reciprocity and Sankofa back in the day, and all that. But now it's closer because Dallas Poetry Slam, in its vision and its movement thing to this lady right here, is moving into grander and broader things. So we do open mic. So you do have a chance to express yourself beyond being in the competition. You don't have to have that pressure. We even have it where there's some nights we just have a game night. We just play Cards Against Humanity and just hang out. Or we play dominoes, or we play spades. And that's at the venue that you're supposed to be having the open mic or the slam. And we say, tonight, we just going to chill. And then that is a way where we can have an exchange and a type of camaraderie with the rest of the community. But those folks who have this bitterness, they don't come to all that stuff. They just see what, what Rage done.
Can I bring up something?
Yeah.
I was told, because keep in mind, I don't know about a lot of this stuff. I'm too busy, but my poets, they call me and they're upset. They hear these things, so that's the only way I know about this stuff. But I want to address something that I heard that they were saying blacklisted. This is where they throw it.
Okay, that was my next question.
Yeah, you get blacklisted in the community. So I was like, okay, so when the Jackson 5 started, and Joe got all the group together, he said, "You gonna do this, you gonna do that. Michael, you gonna sing lead, da da da." All of them could sing, right? Janet was over here; she was a little girl playing around, Toya, Reba, all them. So, but Michael, something about Michael. The producer said, "You know what? It's something about this one. We want this one to stand out, right?" All of them can sing. However, you could have a standout person, but it's something in that person's work ethic that makes them go further than anybody else. So even though people can say, well, they made it all about Michael, but Michael worked harder, practiced harder, danced harder, did everything 10 times better because he worked so hard to make himself be Michael Jackson. It's the same thing with Beyonce. Beyonce started out, it was Destiny's Child, whatever. Kelly's doing her thing now, Michelle went gospel. But Beyonce works harder than any other woman in the music industry. She's not the best singer. No, she's not the best dancer. But you're not going to outwork her. So when you say you get blacklisted, you're saying that without this organization, you cannot be great. That I don't understand that. Because for you to say you're blacklisted, that means that somebody or something or some entity is preventing you from going to the next level in your career. And I have never understood how poetry is that powerful. It's not like it's the music industry, but it's only so much you could do with poetry outside of a stage and a college. I mean, it's not like you're gonna go on tour on China doing poetry, open mic
right now.
Right. So my thing is, if you're feeling like you're blacklisted, I'm like, so I think that should be internal. Like, what do you do when you leave an organization, or when you go on, like, if you quit a job or if you got fired, you just gonna say, I'm not gonna work the rest of my life? No, you're gonna go out there, you're gonna find another job, and you're gonna make your living, right? So if you leave an organization, or if you feel like this organization is not for you, what is preventing you as an artist from going on to something greater and making yourself better? We all have the same 24 hours in a day. You get to choose how you use your time and make yourself better as an artist and as a person. Now, if I go back 5 years, and we all started out 5 years ago, and you still doing the same thing you was doing, but I progressed in 5 years, and it's not the organization or the community, it's you.
Okay, so so on the blacklist, let me dig a little bit deeper. And I'm sorry, you people out there, because y'all know I know some of y'all business. So I'm just going to be talking about you. If you get mad, y'all know what the fuck. Y'all can inbox me. Y'all know I love cussing people out. And I'm not part of no team, so fuck y'all. Fuck all of y'all. At the end of the day.
We lying. Here's the blacklist right here.
Right. That's
Been having it.
Oh, yeah.
Rage. No.
Okay. So.
He's taking with honor. Yes.
So let's talk about the blacklist. So
let's talk about the blacklist.
Yeah, let's talk about the blacklist.
Okay.
So let's say
Nat Turner.
Yeah, let's use the hypothetical that I was a part of Dallas Slam. Or I wanted to be a part of Dallas Slam.
That's even better.
And something didn't happen to where I made it. But no, I want to go deeper because I think it's easy. It's easy for the ones who wanted to be and wasn't. I want to talk about what if I was a part of it? Like Gino said, I was drafted. I was a high pick. I was a good prospect, whatever, blue chip. They thought I was gonna be the next coming, and something didn't go right. Whether it was my work ethic, or I got too tied up in the pop that I was getting, or I got too tied up in my teams or what everybody else was saying, and now I don't really fit into the group, and now I don't feel welcome.
A lot of times people come in thinking, when they're being coached for a team, that you're trying to change them.
Okay.
Or change their poetry or rewrite their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case. Never. We're trying to train them and educate them to a better way of doing it for the competition.
Okay.
Because sometimes you have a great poet, they come in and they're used to doing a 4 or 5 minute poem. In competition, you only have 3 minutes and a 10-second grace period. So if you're going beyond that 3 minute, 10-second grace period, there's a 0.5 deduction, every 10 seconds over. So in doing that, you're making the team lose. So people have to learn to trim their poems. We help people edit their stuff. Like, okay, we see a bunch of stuff in this poem that you've already said this. You reiterated this a few times. Let's take these things out so we can shorten this and make it competition ready. Mm-hmm. A lot of folks don't like you messing with their art, and that's fine. That means slam is not for you. We got an open mic, 2nd and 4th. Get down with that. And then sometimes we have time to have a little open mic before the slam. Get down with that. Mm-hmm. So you got those instances where that happens, and they get frustrated with that. Also, there sometimes, like you said, that there's a behavior problem. Sometimes, if you're always late and your work ethic is not there, it's going to be a problem. We're trying to train for a competition, and what we try to do at Dallas Poetry Slam, we try to raise money so that these people competing at these national poetry slams that happen all over the nation, we try to set it up where you don't have to come out of pocket for anything. Travel, hotel, we even try to do food per diems. It's an investment. Mm-hmm. So if you're not going to come to practice, I'm losing an investment.
Right.
We could go to a system where everybody pays but we try to make it something that is welcoming and non-toxic. Non-toxic on your paycheck.
Well, I think one of the things Ty was getting to is when they're not involved, what makes them feel like they're blacklisted? Mm-hmm. Like, what is that process? So that's to say that, okay, you're not no longer involved, and then you feel like you're not welcome to come around. And the question is, who made you feel that way? What was said? What was done? Because an act has to occur for you to feel like you cannot come around, and that is completely not true. Like Gino said, like there's open mic. We have open mic every Friday. Like there's an open door policy. We have venues and stuff where you can come in and you can still be you. But like Gino referenced earlier, if you have some personal issues with some people, you're gonna come to somewhere where all these people are, and you're gonna feel awkward. Okay. So I think, again, personally, you're taking it as they don't feel welcome because of what personally happened versus their difference. It's like no one told you you can't. You just choose not to. Mm-hmm. And then because people are now reaching out to you saying, hey, why you not coming around? Then you feel like, oh, I've been blacklisted.
Yeah. And then you have individuals who don't make practices or something of that nature. They have maybe a family issue they got to take care of, whatever they got to do. And maybe after 4 or 5 times of that, and we only have so many practices to do, you may be asked, you sign a contract, and you may be asked to leave the team so that the person who we bring up the next person in the roster that you can take care of the needs that we have for the competition. And then that person may feel, you may feel shamed that you were put off this team and that you can't hang out and be friends or buddies or fellow poets with these people anymore. But you can. You just can't be on the team.
Right.
You know, and that's it.
I mean, and all of this really is nothing if, like I said, if people who disagree, and so it seems like since there is no callers or no one calling in with questions, that no one feels like it's toxic.
Bang, bang.
So it really wouldn't even matter to keep going on, because I think me and Gino have thoroughly explained, why it's not toxic. We have thoroughly answered the questions Ty has had. So if there's no one in the poetry community that wants to ask the questions or voice their opinion, then there's no need for us to even continue, because we have already addressed everything we feel like we can address.
Okay, well, let me be devil's advocate, because since they scared, I'm gonna say stuff that they scared to say. Hey y'all, just shut up. I'm talking about hey y'all. Like we just gonna say hey. Yeah.
I'm ready for this.
So hold on. So we was talking about Blacklist. Where was I going with that? Okay.
You gonna play devil's advocate?
Yeah, devil's advocate. So and let me set the stage for this, because as as an older poet that, like I said, when I came up, slam was not what it is today. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't in our area the way it is now. Mm-hmm. So as a poet, we came through the open mic sets, and then at some point there was shows or venues that went beyond open mic. And that was one of the things when I started my show. It was more to not be open mic. It was to be more of a feature type of show, a variety type of show that challenged the poets to say, you know what, y'all start talking about y'all want to get paid. Can you even do a 10-minute set?
They can't.
Right, because you're just used to getting up there doing one poem, and you want somebody to pay you for that. Well, let me tell you, you're not going to get paid to do one poem. And if you want to be compared to a singer, you want to be compared to a comedian or a band, you got to be able to do a set. Can you do that? And so that's what we kind of, started with our side, what we were doing. And I think the sense of the poets was that they saw a bigger picture, that if you wanted a lane in poetry, you had to create it, or you didn't have nothing else to do but open mic. Where today, because of what slam has grown into, a lot of the newer poets, the only thing that they know is slam. The only thing that they've seen is slam. Mm-hmm. So in their world, like you said, some of them, and it's one thing for people who don't do poetry, right, like my sis was saying, right, to say, wow, I thought slam was a type of poetry. Mm-hmm. But I can guarantee you that there's probably majority of young poets that think that slam is poetry, and there's nothing outside of that.
Right.
So when they don't make a team, or they don't feel like I'm good enough to be here, or the same person win every time, then I'm no longer part of the community that I want to be a part of.
So is that a question? Or
so that's setting the stage. So how do you address that? How do you address that issue to someone that doesn't have any clue about the craft that they're doing? And if to them, slam is the world. And so when you say, yeah, you weren't good enough to make the team, then that in their minds, and I'm playing devil's advocate, in their minds, they feel like they're being told you can't be a poet.
Well, everybody's not made for this. I'm just going to put it out there. Mm-hmm. Everybody's not made for it. If you are thin-skinned to that point, slam gonna hurt your feelings. It's gonna break your heart. If you are that thin-skinned to that point, it's gonna hurt, because even for all the accolades that I have received in slam poetry, I had to start somewhere, mm-hmm, and it wasn't as a winning poet. You go up there, you get your butt whooped, and you learn. And it wasn't like, oh man, this some bullshit. I ain't coming back here. I learned. I kept seeing what other cats were doing. I improved my writing style, and then eventually, you try to. It's 2 rounds. Usually, it's 2 rounds of poetry, and you try to make it to that second round and then win, and be in the top 3 to qualify for the slam off and make the team. So when I first started out, it was hell just getting out of that first round. All the people who didn't get to the second round just sitting over there in the corner just watching the champions, and that included myself. And then eventually, I almost had a super celebration calling family members when I made it to the second round. Now, mind you, I didn't win nothing. I just made it to the next round.
That's awesome in itself, yeah. And
so you have to learn the craft, be humble yourself, and be ready to climb that ladder of success and get better at what you do. Nobody's gonna move out of the way for you.
Right.
Nobody. They're just not gonna say, "Oh, this guy's just not making it. Let me chill on my poetry. Let me not do it tonight so they can." Everybody, all of them trying to reach that similar goal as you are. So you just gotta get better. You have to beat them. That's it.
So can I answer that?
Yeah.
With a couple of things. So Gino is specifically talking about slam poetry, but can we just talk about? You said something that said poets coming in the community, and this is all they know, and when they don't make the team, they feel like they're not a poet. So a couple of things is.
Oh, and hold on, let me add something to that.
Okay.
Because that would just alienate the new poets. But we know that even so I can relate to poets that came up with me that didn't cross over and start doing slam.
Okay.
A lot of them took offense to slam, and so they had campaigns against slam because they felt like, well, you're saying I'm not a real poet because I don't slam, and so they went on crusades to shoot down slam. Some did.
There are some unreal poets who slam.
Right.
So I just want to 3 things. The first thing is there was MySpace and then there was Facebook.
Right.
So you
Black
had
Planet.
You had Black Planet.
Before
I was
that.
on Black Planet. You had a person that said, "Oh, you know what? I have Black Planet." However, you had all these people thinking that Black Planet was the thing to do. But then there was somebody that said, "You know what? Maybe Black Planet isn't for me. I'm going to start MySpace." And they did. Then somebody said, "Well, MySpace is good, but let me make it better and let me create Facebook." So in answer to one of your questions, for you to say that in 2017, there are so many other avenues of poetry other than slam. So if you don't make a slam team, there are still tons of open mics. There are still online workshops. There are still so many nonprofit literary organizations in Dallas that do so many things. If as an adult, as a person of 2017, and you're of the age of 12, because my son is on social media. If you're over the age of 12 and you know how to use Google, then you understand how to search for all the other poetry genres that exist in your city outside of slam poetry. There's Writers Garret, there's WordSpace, there's Lucha Dallas. There are so many other poetry organizations outside. And at a time, there was a wine cellar. There was all these other shows. So it doesn't stop or start with slam. That's the first thing.
Right.
The second thing is you say that they, if they don't win, they feel like they're not a poet. The problem is that some of folks they're just not poets. And that's where I think we have sugarcoated this. Just because, you feel like you can sit down and you hear somebody you sound like and you think you can mimic them, that doesn't make you a poet. I see so many people that come on the scene and I feel insulted because I feel like I make it look easy that you think you can get on a stage and because you can make hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock, that you're a poet. You have no literary devices. If I asked you to name 10, you couldn't. If I asked you to tell me what a sestina was, you couldn't. If my son can tell me what a limerick is. It's like if you are a poet, you study the art and the craft. So just because you venting or you writing a journal of what you did today or your bad experience, that does not make you a poet. And because you have a poet like Gino who tells you, well, guess what? This ain't about shit and you're not really writing anything, you get offended, but he's trying to help you to let you know that you think you're writing something and you sound stupid and unintelligent.
Wait a minute.
I mean, that's just the truth. I mean,
right.
Listen, my country.
That's why I was trying to open it up. Yeah.
I cannot sing. I am tone deaf. Sweet land of liberty. I cannot hold a note to save my life.
All over the scale.
So guess what? I know Candy is not a singer. Okay. I am not a singer. So why Ty tells me, Candy, you know you can't sing. Why would I take offense to that?
I ain't Ty Free no more.
I'm not Ty Free no more. I can't sing. I'm tone deaf. But if I said, I could be your Bathsheba bathing the blazing bays in the Bombay Sapphire, wait a minute. She just did an alliteration. She must be a writer. Yeah. It's a difference. So that's it. Like, and so what slam does is iron sharpens iron. If you are competing against slam poets, like one of my great rookie poets, like Wayne Henry, he came on the scene about 3 years ago. He was like, Candy, I want to get better. He was like, I can't win slams. What do I need to do? I said, Wayne, you need to work on your performance. Your performance is weak. You know what he did? He worked on his performance. 2017, Wayne Henry was the Dallas Slam champ. Wayne Henry is touring all over the country because he took the critique and got better. So if somebody is telling you something to help you and you take it and it hurts your feelings, then you're not, like Gino said, you're not built for this.
Okay, so this is my, you just said that earlier. The first thing I thought about was the 5 Heartbeats. When they said, Dexter, show him what you got. Dexter got out there and he was jamming. He thought he was doing it. And then the man turned around and he said, "You ain't shit." Just like I thought, that ain't shit. Why not what you said? I'm like, okay, so please tell me y'all don't go up to people and say that ain't shit.
Why not listen to somebody? Why not listen to the people who won? Why, like Ray says in his poems, why don't I take financial advice from a homeless person?
Absolutely, but I'm saying, is it okay? So if somebody really wanted to write poetry, and they, of course, not gonna be where you guys are because they need to,
right? Absolutely.
Whatever. But do you tell them that ain't shit? Or no. Look, we here, and if you were like, oh boy said, I want to get better.
Like I said, do this. We had free workshops from August to December. Mm-hmm. I can name you the people that attended. Quayle was one of them. She came to every single workshop. I had poets who were on my team that did not attend none of the workshops. I had poets in this poetry community that are complaining right now that did not come to those workshops. And here you have Gino and Candy, the cream de la creme, helping you, and you don't want help, and it was free. So we have had
we didn't make a dime.
We didn't make a dime. We didn't even make any money. So there are some people who, if you want to get better, we're offering you an opportunity to get better.
So that was my question.
Yeah, but they
really want to, if they come out,
absolutely.
And again, just like you said, that's not my lane. I know my lane is singing and maybe acting, whatever. That's and I stay there. I write music. But I know I'm not gonna get on stage and try to do no poetry. That's not my thing. So that was my thing. Is
and you don't have to be on slam team, you can
right. But my thing is, if people are really, if it's something they want to do, and you notice in the beginning, oh baby, you're really not a poet. Is that a person you gonna take time out to help, or you like I'm out?
Well, sometimes people just can't take criticism, and sometimes you have to be real with them because I've said in the past that. Because one of the venues that we came up in that was open mic, I always said that venue is great and groundbreaking that I thought it was because it kind of opened the door to the people that really wasn't doing poetry. So we had places like Reciprocity, we had Sankofa. Those people, when you went to those places, you knew those people there are new poetry. They were art. They were about the life that we were, trying to be or living. Then we went to the club Cristal. First of all, it was a club. Clubs didn't normally bring in poetry, so you had to know it was going to be different. So it was a little different flair. You had people who had never seen poetry, on stage. A lot of people thought that we were doing, roses are red, violets are blue type of shit. And then it became cool to get on stage because it was so many people out there. And I made a statement one time and said, just because you wrote a poem, that don't make you a poet. Right. But, and not to knock Cristals again, because I think that it had its lane and it did a lot of good things for poetry. But it also created a mentality that anybody could do that. And that's what, so Candy said earlier that she was offended. I get offended with poetry. I get offended with playwriting. When somebody wakes up today and decided, I'm going to do this
and I'm just as good as you, and I don't have to study, I don't have to do all the work that you have. And you may not. You may make it. You may be that one person that boom, the first time you do it, the first time you slam off, you win.
There are those natural talents.
Right.
Right.
And then I've seen people who they come on the scene, boom, and everybody like, what? This person right here kill it. And they do good that one year, and the next year you like, where they at? Who? Where they at? Where they at? And some of that is, guess what? Your talent fizzled out, or you got caught up in the popularity and you really wasn't about the art.
Can I point out that what I've noticed is the people who have longevity in this business are the people who work the hardest. Rage is probably the most valuable poet in the poetry community to date. Rage has not made teams. He has worked hard to get on teams. He's wanted to make a team he didn't make, had to come back from it, went to Paris, France, toured. It's like, this is poet right here is a true poet. He works at his craft. It's like there is nothing other for him than poetry. So
he's crazy.
And it's amazing to me how poets who don't even write as much, you go home and you watch the reality TV shows and you ain't writing, you kicking it, you chilling. But then the poet who works, it's like the ant and the grasshopper. Gino has been slam champ 3 times in a row. Like he is the reason the Dallas Poetry Slam is where it's at. And he worked at it. Gino worked hard. He went. He hustled. Gino had a book. He had groups. He with hostess and Copas. Like, he paved the way. If it wasn't for Gino, you wouldn't have an open mic today. Right. So you look at these 2 poets. They have worked and they're still working
every day.
And you're not doing anything, and you want to bitch and complain about bitching and complaining.
So let's go to the critiquing. Because sometimes, because Vet was asking, do you tell somebody they ain't shit or that wasn't shit? Guess what? I believe, and I don't know if you guys really do that, but once you make the team and now you're in training camp, then it's free right now. You brand new, ain't nobody saying that to you. But if we rehearsing and your ass not showing up, then if I get heated, then you gotta understand because you signed up for this. Right. But so critiquing.
Well,
I've never slammed, but I remember the first time I met Rage. And I don't know if you remember, you sold me one of your CDs. CD. What did I tell you?
You told me to stop selling my CD for $1, even though that marketing plan worked.
I understand.
But you told me to stop, and I get what you get. Yeah. We're not gonna get into that.
And but
I stopped doing that shortly after that, though.
But what I liked about it was, I don't know if you really knew who I was.
I didn't.
But he didn't say, who the hell are you telling me I can do what I want to do? And at the end of the day, you still did what you wanted to do, but I did plant that seed.
You did.
And the reason why I was saying that was, I just heard you. And I think you dope. And I think you selling yourself cheap. And I didn't want you to sell yourself cheap. Yeah. And he had his own plan, so I don't know if they made it against the rule to do it, but he waited till we got outside, and I was just like, okay, yeah, definitely, but don't ever do that. Right, don't sell yourself cheap. Right. It would have been different if I was some world-renowned poet that he knew, and I said that, and he took it and was like, man, I need to listen to Ty. Right. But he didn't know who I was. Right. One thing that I see, and I want to address this with Gino. How is it? First of all, when was the last time you were actually on a slam team?
2001.
Okay.
Jesus.
2001.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Right.
Wait.
I've coached several since.
Right.
She said, wait.
Is that you said that's the last time you were on a slam team?
Mm-hmm. On the team.
On the team.
Right. 17. So no, when I say old school paved the way. Look, 2001, we wasn't even thinking about no damn. Right. We didn't know nothing about slam.
I didn't know about slam. I knew nothing.
I was on I was on the 97, 98, the 2000, and the 2001. So those of those teams, 2 made finals and 1 was championship team.
Wow.
And I've coached 2 teams that have gone to finals. and I've coached several others who have done semifinals.
So just as a poet, and I'm back on the devil's advocate stage.
Sure.
As a new poet coming on the scene, I've been around. I probably watched poetry probably the last 2-3 years. So I know Rage.
Right.
I know LGB. I know these poets because they're the poets that I grow up, that I came into the scene seeing. But I've never seen,
It's an LGB.
No, what's his name? Did I say it wrong?
LGB, yeah.
LGB.
LGB.
That's
It
his
stands for Lyrically Gifted Brother.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
I thought
his
you were
name.
talking about it was a gay community of poetry.
No, LGBT.
Okay.
There is. But
Not LGBTB, whatever. I like to say all
All
that.
the letters.
But all the letters.
What?
He's not all the letters.
Okay. Just 3. Okay.
Right.
his
So
name was that before they
right.
made an acronym for it.
So I've seen these poets,
Uh-huh.
and so now I go and I slam off, and I make the team with some dope cats that I've been. But then I walk in, and you're my coach, and I've never seen you slam. How important is it for for if I'm new to this crowd to know about the history and what the hell slam is, because I just know what it is based on what I saw Rage do. But as a new poet, if Rage tell me something, I probably think I'm okay. I can learn from him until I beat him, and then when I beat him, then I'm above him. So he need to learn from me. But how do I learn?
From each other.
How do I learn? Yeah, but the mentality is I gotta be.
Right.
I'm the best now, so
Ray
you
sitting
can't.
over there like, not gonna happen.
I lose every time, all the time.
Why is it important for me to learn from somebody like you, who have the history?
Well, I think it's important to learn the history so you know what you're getting into and the role you're playing. And I'm just referencing slam that you're playing in this competition poetry. To know who paved the way, what things have been tried previously, things of that nature. Now, when it comes to coaching currently, I leave that in the hands of newer poets. Candy, she's on the verge of being some old school. She the borderline.
Yeah.
But we have other poets who are now seasoned, who can coach, give writing prompts to the team, and do things like that. Because my poetry taste, I feel a little more refined. But there's a taste for a certain type of poetry in slam poetry now that a younger mindset may understand. Like, for instance, a lot of the mumble rap today.
Right.
I love the beats. I don't know what you're saying. Young Thug got an interesting rhythm. I'm like, that's tight rhythm. I don't know what he's talking about. Unless maybe the chorus make a little sense or something like that. But I don't think he's writing for me in per se.
Right.
I can get into it or whatever, but I think he's writing for a particular audience.
Right.
And so I think that sometimes, even if you're a seasoned person and have a bit of notoriety to yourself, sometimes you need to kind of move over and let the younger poets, continue the way. My thing is to lay the foundation and give you the vehicle to move forward in.
Right.
So my job is to make sure people come to these open mics and these slams. Make sure that we raise the money to get you where you need to be so you can do that style or whatever you're doing. Now, one thing about poetry, there's some basic tenets in poetry that's different from rap that never really change. And when you come to alliteration and similes and metaphors and things of that nature, those things don't change. So I can't instruct you in those areas.
Right.
Also, I know a lot about the business side of this.
Okay. That's what. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to open that door to business and get a little kind of how do you say it? Make your art make money.
Right.
I can get you there, But and then there's certain life lessons that never change. Also, people may have been coached by me who feel that, I guess this is where you could, I wouldn't call it toxic. I'd call it like a drill sergeant. I'm known as a hard coach because I strive for excellence. I want to win. I want to bring home championships.
Come on now.
And either you gonna ride the excellence train with me,
Fall in line.
or get off at the lack depot.
Right.
You know, so you gonna ride that train or not? And I have been known to tell people that's not gonna make it. You know, I've had I won't even tell that story. I don't want to offend nobody.
Somebody said you balled up the poem and throw it at him.
He tore it up. He ripped it up. There's correction. He ripped it.
Okay, I'm gonna go and tell it because we are close and he understand and he know this is.
Well, that's just we aired it out.
Yeah, it's fine.
We airing it out. Okay. LGB.
Yeah.
I love L style. Nobody. If L was in New Orleans, he fall right in line with everybody else in New Orleans. But L here, and he has a unique style that is. He be rhyming shit that ain't rhyme. Because you know that New Orleans, man.
Yeah.
Urch and he make groceries and all kind of
9 per 8.
He from Patapa Train. I don't know what that place is called. That's French, Spanish. Papa Chule. Papa, you whatever. Popeye's chicken.
That one right there.
So the brother had 2 very great pieces, genius pieces. One is about Walmart. Everybody loves that Walmart piece. Then he had one about an addiction, people having an addiction to social media. And they need to knock that shit off. So then he came to one rehearsal after he had made the team, and I wanted to hear people's new shit or what they want to bring to the table. He started doing this poem, and it started sounding like Walmart, and it was mixing into social media stuff, and he was talking about these addictions again, but he was taking 2 of his old poems and put together as a new poem, and I'm like, is he fucking with me? I thought he was messing with me, because I'm a hard coach, so they come in like probably joking around. And he finished the shit up, and I'm like, come on, fucking around. But he was serious, so I sit up like, threw that shit away, and I said, break me something better. He was a little offended by that shit, but he was serious about it, and. But I think he took that, went back to the lab, and after that, it was like 4 or 5 other pieces he came with that was dope as hell. That year, he couldn't continue on the team because of some personal matters, but he went back to the lab writing. He was just kind of like chilling and resting on his laurels. I don't know if he didn't think I'd notice it, because it was weird. But that was some crazy shit. Now it had to be addressed.
Right.
And I was in my mother. I have to give my mother a lot of credit for my personality when it comes to certain things. She was the type of person that says, "You have potential," which means you ain't shit right now.
Right.
Right.
You're dating someone with potential.
They ain't shit. They ain't shit right now.
Right there. So you gotta choose if you want to continue to be a part of that or not.
So there's a lot of.
That's what she meant.
There's a lot of poets with potential.
Right.
So I have a question. This might sound crazy, but again, I've learned a lot tonight about poetry. Really. Okay, so. Of course, like we were talking about earlier, people are like roses are red, violets are blue, So, is the goal? Maybe I shouldn't use the word goal, but is the goal always for it to rhyme?
Oh,
never,
you know what I'm saying? Because I hate that.
There's more unrhyming poetry in slam than rhyming.
You see what I'm saying? I don't like when it's just so like every word is wrong. That gets on my nerves. So that's what I'm saying. Like I've heard some great poetry where they didn't.
Well, it's different rhyme schemes too, so it's not. It's not.
Like, is that the goal? Is for
never the goal.
So the more you go, like if you go and you see, you'll hear different rhyme schemes. So what most people that are not accustomed to poetry, they used to, rose and red, violets and blue. Sugar sweet, so are you.
That's what I'm saying.
Pause right quick. Hold on. Public service announcement. LGB, I love you. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh no, he's laughing. He's laughing. He the one threw himself out there because that's the only reason I know about he posted that.
That's my man. But
he posted. He told my poem up and threw it in the face. So.
I did not throw anything in anybody's face. I'm not going to disrespect your person.
He threw it at him, but not at his face.
Okay.
It's kind of like when Ty fired all of us.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like. But
I get that in the play industry, y'all.
Okay.
Like who fires? Like you know,
Who fires the whole
I had to break a record because I fired people the day before the show.
Right.
We like, and this shit still gonna be gangster. Like bye. But this time I was like,
everybody.
you know what?
How y'all get out of here?
And I was evaluating. I was like, I got 12 people. 6 of them good. The other 6 ain't shit.
Right. Oh, you did not say that out loud. Ah!
It is.
Fuck it, everybody fired. Cause the other 6 got potential. Fuck it, everybody get fired.
Hey, but let me make another important point to that also. That and Candy may elaborate on this a little bit. I don't know, but when we took over the management of Dallas Poetry Slam, we had a particular vision and a particular way. We knew some things had to change because I wouldn't say it was toxic; it was just mismanaged, and so I knew that my approach and style of coaching had to get more refined also. I just couldn't, especially a new person, didn't know my personality. You know, you tear up their shit, then, oh my God, you know.
Ty, are you listening?
You beat me up.
You listening, Ty?
Look, they be fussing at me because in the beginning we might go a whole month of rehearsal and they like, he ain't saying nothing. He just letting them just fuck up. And it's like, I'm sitting there. I'm an Aries. I'm gonna give you time.
I'm watching.
But when I launch on you, on you,
Lord.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Everybody go home.
But I had to refine some things. One thing, Sherry manages pretty much everything. I mean,
Well, that's my
Candy.
name.
She manages pretty much everything in our shit. But in the beginning of it, I've been knowing her forever. We some Oak Cliff. We talk bad. We talk bad to each other. People think we finna fight.
Keystone Polk.
Already. Highland Hills, baby.
Over to the road.
That's by the chicken place, right?
singing
Yeah, we buy all the chicken
Shut
places.
up.
We know all the chicken places there.
No, the
Rudy's.
the good chicken. Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Yes,
I know
the kings of chickens.
Yeah.
Shut up.
But one thing that I knew that it had to take a different route, and I explained to her that it had to take a different route, and she probably noticed. Or I don't know, but I was managing her at first, but she already knew that we had to probably change a little of our approach to some things because we were looking at taking this a little bigger than just a poetry slam.
Right.
You know, we were looking at making a particular type of movement and bringing poetry to a broader audience. And that means that we had to open these doors and actually be more welcoming and get rid of those things that people assume were toxic. And it wasn't based off of us, but probably some things happening prior. So we had to go in with that approach. So one thing I knew that, one thing about this young lady, she crazy. But this motherfucker is not lazy. She will get the shit done. And I knew that she had to be at the front and center of this thing. And like you said, a lot of people don't know me. They may hear about me around the way or some shit like that. Some legendary shit like, it used to be an apple tree on Johnson Street.
He said some legendary, yes.
Yeah, some. So I came in a place one time. They're like, "Okay, this is a legend slam." I'm like, "Fuck, and it's a lot of pressure." Because I live off of Bonneview. I still was catching when it was called the Lancaster, but so you gotta,
So maybe you need to come up with that legendary slam.
I'm not fucking with her.
Y'all did that.
This ain't fucking around.
What?
It's not my style.
I don't think
But I like where we're going in our approach, but
Leave no blue behind.
but we wanted to broaden this thing out, baby.
Right.
And so,
Go ahead.
because of the way that it was managed before,
Man, I had
could have been that some of these poets got used to it being just
yes.
the challenge of making the team, and then you were now just known as a slam poet. You are part of the team. And then the next year it was, let's do it again. So it just became something to do. But when the two of you said, look, we need to make this bigger. And by making it bigger, it has to be what it is, a business. And so you can get more out of just getting up here and winning a trophy or getting out here and being part of a team.
And Ty, some of them got on kind of, that rock star shit. And people begin to wallow in their own shit, in their own drama for the sake of the shit. And just doing some ignorant shit because, they were popular.
Right.
And so we had to come in and kind of snip a lot of that. It's like gardening. We had to get these weeds out and we had to trim that shit up and we had to, make some toxins, folks.
Can I just say something to that? Elevation requires separation.
Come on now.
There you go.
You can't take everybody with you where you're trying to go. There's something to be said about dead weight, and I love y'all know I love Beyonce. If y'all don't know I love Beyonce, but she had this line that said, "I'm going to another level, no passengers on my plane." Sometimes people can weigh you down, especially the wrong type of people. And Ty, you know this. I mean, anybody, Gino, and anybody knows this. And even if in your own personal lives, if you look at some of your friends, some of your relationships with people, you telling them about your successes or their dream killers. Hey, this is what I want to do. Yeah, but what about this? What about that? It's always some type of negative rebuttal. And it's like, so what I had to do, because I had that experience even when I started coming up with my ideas and events, I had people in my circle that was so negative. I said, I want to do this event. Yeah, but what about X, Y, and Z? I don't think it's going to happen. And then right there, the event was killed. Then I get with somebody like Gino that says, I don't give a fuck what you do. Do it. Be crazy. Be radical. And I didn't know how to take that. I was like, you for real? You really want me to go out here and be radical? You remember when Eddie Murphy Boomerang, when Eddie Murphy was like, do whatever. When he told the guy, do whatever. Shorty J, do whatever you want to do. He was like, you give me my own. Like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. So Gino was like he said, she may be crazy, but she ain't lazy. He was like, you know what? Whatever. And I come to Gino, he was like, I don't see how you gonna do it. But guess what? You ain't never failed. And so it's even to the point now where the Dallas Slam team, my staff, they don't even know the events for December. No one knows what I'm going to do the following month until I tell them. So like every month, everybody's like, we don't know what's going to happen next month. We don't know until Candy tells us because I had to keep it here. So what happens is what Gino was saying is like, you're trying to, as we change this organization from the old management that it was to just being on a team, now it's a movement.
Right.
Now it's community. Now we have teaching artists. Now we have, now we have world things that we're doing. We have national things that we're doing. Now we have other programs that are bigger than just slam. They're bigger than just a poetry and open mic. We have bigger things going on, and some people are just still stuck in. I just want to be a big poet on stage.
Right.
We gotta let you be where you want to be a rock star. We gotta let you be a rock star. Where we're going involves you being selfless and understanding that too many cooks spoil the soup. Sometimes I had a young lady, Lyric J. Shout out to Lyric J if you listening, babe. I know your work. Lyric J called me. She said, "Candy, I just want to be a servant. I'm good at being a servant. I'm good at helping and following." And there is a gift and humility in servitude, understanding that sometimes you could be a pretty shiny red Corvette, but if you don't have no engine, you ain't going nowhere.
Right.
And I am grateful and thankful to all of my members of the Dallas poetry community, all of my supporters, all of our fans, all of the people who come to Heroes every Friday, who come to our open mics. Y'all are our engine. Candy just driving the car. Gino might be pumping the brakes. Rage might be the lube. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else might be the lube. You the lube, baby. We're all playing a part, right? Everybody has their part.
Like, girl, don't take that curve that fast.
Don't take that curve, Brett. Somebody the GPS. Somebody got to be the seat warmers. Sometimes you need the seat warmers. Somebody got to be the little, exhaust pipe. Whatever we got to do to make this engine run, we're all working together. Finally, I can honestly say, we have a team that is making the entire thing run. Right. And it's not about a Candy. It's not about a Gino. It's not about one person.
Right.
It's about the community. And then guess what? if you're faithful over a few, he'll make you rule over much. Yeah. So when we started focusing on our little garden, now all of the national poets is saying, we need to do what Dallas is doing. Yep. Candy, wow, what are you doing? Help us. We want to do that. We want to do that. And we made it about the community. You don't see me on no flyer. It's not the Candy Entertainment Presents. Right. It's not Candy Show. It's not the Candy Girl. It is Dallas Poetry Slam Presents. It is us. It is the movement. And everybody else I see in the poetry community, no offense, no shots fired, but it's all about them. Right. But it's not about me. It's not about Gino. It's about us. Right. So everybody plays a part. I have 4 DJs on staff. We have 4 hosts. We have a community. We got door workers. We got people that do every part of this organization to make it work. We got a team of about 10 team artists. We have 4 partners in the DFW area. And then, I can't even, LGB is the slam manager. He went from being a member, now he manages the slam every Friday because I got to focus on national stuff. So we have a community. Right. And that is what Gino is saying. And people who couldn't get with that, you got to get cut off. Because if we cut you off, you probably handed us the scissors. Right.
And it's not personal.
It's not. It was never personal. It's never personal. It's never personal. But they take it personal.
If we cut you off,
he's rage fire.
You probably
handed us the scissors.
Handed us the scissors.
Scissors.
That's she said. If we cut you off, what you do?
You handed the scissors.
I handed the scissors.
And guess what? As
you can see, this is working.
Stay woke.
It's still going. Nothing down. I don't know if you guys may not know this, but Dallas Poetry Slam was organized in 1994.
Oh.
I had no idea.
You said you was just born.
You was mad. You carried a one.
You said you was just born. He was just born.
You were just born. And guess what? We're not stopping.
Now wait a minute. 94.
I've got the carry.
No,
yeah, I was in East Texas.
Some folks were still just trying to figure out who they was, and guess what? We still moved.
Look, because poets like dropping names. Like these new poets, like really like dropping names. I just be like, sit your ass down. Look, I was in 94. I was in East Texas with I'm gonna drop a name now. Gino.
Yeah.
With Kamika.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kamika. I know Kamika's not listening because Kamika about her business. Emotion Brown, but
right.
Gino and Emotion Brown go back in the day. Kamika has been a mentor to me, to a lot of poets, and you know what's the beautiful about that sister? Right. Kamika paved the way for all of the women poets in DFW. And guess what? She invited the Dallas Poetry Slam teaching artists to her classroom to work with her students.
Oh, wow.
It ain't no ego tripping. It's like, even though Kamika is queen god of poetry in Dallas, in my opinion, she still can say, like Gino said, I'm going to let the new people come in because they can probably relate to my students on a level that I can't. And guess what? Everybody's still making money. Everybody's still showing love. That's what you call queen. If you want to see the epitome of somebody who was a leader and somebody who, that's what you call legends and icons who can say, you know what? Yeah, I know I paved the way, but guess what? This person can do maybe what I can't. And that's okay because I was doing what I did in my time.
Right. My first feature.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's great about it. And I love Kamika. Like, I love everything about Kamika. I love what Kamika embodies because she embodies the true spirit of a poet who has paved the way and who is still paving the way. Not so much as in a leadership position, but in a position to say, hey, come on in. Yeah, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to let you have an opportunity. We're going to all eat off this pie.
Already.
Look, Gino, this was so funny because we went to East Texas State together.
And
so when I came back to Dallas and I saw you guys, Oil. Yeah.
Oil.
I was like, I didn't even know she did poetry because I was down in Commerce. Like that was my claim to fame. I was down there reciting poetry all day. And Kamika was a Delta, and so they would have events, and they would always have me come and do poetry. So when I came to Dallas and she was doing poetry, I was just like, when she started writing, she done got a book and everything. I was just like, oh, maybe she was holding back. Right, and waited till she came back. But that was so funny. And the first time that I met you, it was a competition. It was a poetry competition. It wasn't slam. Rudy V. Now was putting on the show.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
That was very ancient.
Long time ago.
Yeah,
Long time ago.
Yes.
No.
It was way before that.
It wasn't a venue. It was like some. It was like at some like a hotel or
He used to
something.
be the host of 105.7.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quiet Storm.
And it was just a competition.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I don't know how I got the information. The girl I was dating at the time, I had just got back from Commerce,
What was that?
and she was like, I can't tell you that because she watching. But she was like, "Oh, they're having a poetry competition. You should enter." And I was like, "No." And then I was like, "No, I don't do that." And she was like, "No, it's amateurs." And I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe I'll do it."
It's somebody with potential.
Yeah, I had potential.
But they ain't shit right now.
I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that." Look, we get there, we perform. You know, they have like a couple of rounds, and so Universe.
Yeah.
So I can't remember.
Just talked to her today.
I can't remember which one of y'all. One of you got first, and the other got second, and I got third.
Okay.
And
She
I
probably got first.
and I was just like, so I was like I was ready to jump up and like just go crazy because I got third place, and it was like. They was like, "What the hell wrong?" No, because this is why I was like, I did something big because that dude and that chick. First of all, she got up there. She had the boom wrap. She had no shoes on. She was everything that when you watch TV, you see poetry. That's what she was. I came in there with with my little suit on. I ain't know I'm going to church.
Right.
And then this brother, I was like, they got books and CDs. I ain't have nothing. I just got a couple of pieces of paper with
I love it.
Look, I was mad. I was like, and then I thought about it. I was like, I got third place because at first I was happy, and then while we was going home, my girlfriend was talking to me, and she was like, "You need to get into it. Did they do it again? You need to do it again. Because you can win." And I started thinking about it. I was like, no, they were no amateurs. They had books. They had CDs. I should have won third place. They shouldn't even been in it. She had a name like Universe, and his name was. He had just some letters. I don't even know what his name was. It was just letters, acronym.
So I have a question. I've been wondering who this person was because I saw you guys and like We Got Next or whatever, and there was this guy.
Shout out to Comedian Q. We Got Next coming
Shout out to
series.
Q.
Right.
Yeah.
Shout out to Q. Yeah. So I seen this guy up there and he did poetry, and it was the only one that has been ingrained in my mind and I'll never forget it. And it was called Titties.
I knew you about to say that. I knew she about to say that.
Titties. I love me some
Rock
titties.
Baby.
Big
Yeah.
titties, small
Small
titties,
titties,
skinny
skinny
titties,
titties,
tall
tall
titties.
I gotta tell you.
Rock Baby.
Because I was sitting up front and he said,
Them
"Those
titties
titties."
is
I would never forget that.
Rock Baby.
Yeah,
But
I seen Rock Baby perform when we was at Jinx.
Rock
Yeah.
Baby.
When we
That
had
sounded like somebody that was on
we had the
Facebook.
wine cellar.
Yeah.
He was on
All of them
He was
used
on
to
that
come.
poetry
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah, I've seen him a couple times, but that he had me in tears. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was
first,
like long titties,
He's a
titties,
legend.
sagging
He's
titties.
a
He like, oh,
Dallas legend.
the first time I heard
really
that
for
poem.
poetry,
Absolutely.
not for that poem, but for poetry. Period.
I mean that and many other things. Rock Baby is one of the icons in Dallas poetry.
Oh yeah,
scene.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He's up there in the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
of
Rock
Dallas
Baby
poetry
was the
scene.
one who
Rock Baby's like number
introduced
3.
me to poetry slam. Rock Baby was the one who pretty much
He was my
believed
first
in me and gave me my first job as a coach for DPS.
Oh
And
wow,
Nice.
rest is history.
yeah, I
That was
loved
my
him.
very first mentor. Rock
A
Baby.
lot of folks feel that I opened the door for a lot of the black poets to come into slam, but I have to give a lot of credit to Rock because I brought Rock over to slam, and then he just opened the door
For everybody.
to everybody.
Yeah.
Cause see, Gino was pimping it as the only black poet.
Yes.
Gino was like, "I be all white folks."
So
Look,
And
Get
then
that, get that white guilt.
look,
I
this,
treat my people bad.
look, this what
Gino
Gino.
was Sugar Hill Gang. Rock Baby was Run DMC.
Right?
Yeah. We had the outfits and shit. And Rock came in the jeans.
Look, I was in the musical. Dallas Reeds was doing the music. I was a part of the musical, and so they did like a launch program to launch it, and we were doing Once on This Island, the musical. And And for the launch show, we all was there, and boom, boom, and they was like, yeah, we're gonna bring out, we got a poet, and I was just like, man, I didn't know they was looking for a poet. I could have did it. And then they made the announcement, and it was like Dallas poet Gino, and he came out. I was like, I know him. Like, how he get here? This is my place. What are he doing up in here? So it was like I would always see. This is what I always used to say about Gino. I always saw Gino with the white people. I was like, that brother know how to get with the white people. I came to one of the open mics at Red.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was yeah.
Look. Cause I would just sneak into places and just kind of stay in the back, hide. I wouldn't perform because I was like, I don't know these people, and they kind of weird. Even Reciprocity, I was like, these cats, they too real for me. Like
you didn't have like natural dashiki.
I was like, I'm not like I'm too hip. Like I'm the mumble rap compared to them. I'm the mumble rap. So I went to Red one night. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching all these people go on stage. And I think you was hosting it, or Clevo, one of y'all. Both of y'all was there. I think you was hosting that night.
Okay.
And this little girl was sitting in front of me. And y'all called her up. And she walked up to the stage. And this just blew my mind. This was like anybody. I was like, anybody can be a poet. And you don't know it. Little white girl sitting there just kind of drinking. Just looking all homely. Like she walked in from outside, walking the streets. Deep Ellum. She got up on stage. She was standing in front of the mic. Then she dug in her back pocket and pulled out LGBT. Look, she pulled out a wrinkled up piece of paper, unfolded it, uncleaned it, like straightened it out, and did the poem. And everybody went crazy. And I was just like,
Victory?
I don't even know. I don't even remember.
But I think I know what it was.
But I was just like, oh my God, I've never seen that. You know, because I always had my stuff all laminated and everything.
I've never seen a white boy.
Oh yeah.
Plenty. Like I'm not saying like not on TV. I'm talking live.
Oh, in person.
I've never seen in person.
I mean, in Dallas Poetry Slam, there's like Clebo Rainey, which is really the founder of Dallas Poetry Slam.
Really?
Jason Carney and Noemi and
Jason Edwards.
Tara Betts.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's all down.
Like I'm just like intrigued. Like I need to be in the poetry stuff more. I don't move your head, baby. But I'm like I need to be into.
Dallas Poetry has a really rich and long and beautiful history, and I think more of the Dallas community needs to know about it. Like me personally speaking, I was a teenager.
Did you say it's toxic?
No.
Okay, so let me ask
this. I can't really
this.
say it's toxic because there's so many places to go. Like right now, there is. Right now, there is plenty of places. Like when you say the Dallas poetry scene is toxic, that's irresponsible to say.
Right.
Because if you ever been to Black Canvas, which is lit right now.
They don't even know that exists. Black
Canvas. Black Canvas is I'm saying Black Canvas is a poetry venue. Matt Squirrel's a poetry venue. The Verse Lounge, Dallas Youth Poets. Like there's so many things for you to go to. For you to say the entire scene is toxic, that's irresponsible. But if you have a problem with a specific venue, you need to say that and mean that. Don't do the half-ass call-out culture thing. Like,
half-ass call-out.
But I believe that the Dallas poetry community is very rich in history and very important to the Dallas community.
Right.
If you do not reside in Dallas or ever go to poetry in Dallas, you cannot speak about Dallas. If you live in anything outside of Dallas County,
that was a shot.
Then that means that's not for you to speak on. Or if you have not contributed to the Dallas poetry community at all, I don't even think you have a platform to speak to. And when I say contributed, I don't mean just getting on Facebook or promoting your own brand. I mean going and helping and passing out flyers and going to some of the youth poet workshops and participating and Women of the World, all the things that have come to this city to help poetry. Some of, like, even Dallas Poetry Slam has been in part of Ty's plays. I mean, we have worked with all of our nonprofit organizations. WordSpace have African Diaspora, where they bring down Pulitzer Prize winners. Writers Garrett has Real Writers. If you have not participated in Dallas poetry community, then You need to be quiet.
Because I want to say something. Because
oh my God,
criticism is a luxury reserved for those who are on the sidelines.
Shout out to LD.
Nice.
Stay woke.
Nice post.
stay woke.
Look,
Third eyes open.
I just knew he was about to go
Shout out to LeVar Davis.
I was getting ready because I'm
Shout
like,
out
he's
to
about
LeVar
to go
Thomas.
into a
Sorry.
whole.
Oh my God.
Shout out to LeVar Thomas.
Thank you for that, friend.
Let me talk about my white people.
Okay.
He said his white people.
Get you some white friends.
Man.
Let me tell you
I
something.
know
How many
that's
white
right.
friends you got?
I know that's right.
Before me and Candy even
Yes.
linked up on this thing, I'm like, she need to meet some certain folks because certain things they're doing is cool, but she can show them how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, Wordspace went over there. We were already associated with them, but she needed to get closer to that situation. Then Writers Garrett had a little fling. They were doing a little change of the guard. I'm like, you need to come through. Because they were inviting me to the thing, but I'm like, nah, y'all need to talk to this young lady right here. She's going to show you how to do that.
So why don't y'all invite Tyler Stips to come out to one of y'all's thingies?
Well, first of all, hold on, let me stop you there. Ty has always had an open invitation
Never
to come
not.
out.
He's never not.
Ty
The
chooses.
Sip didn't know
Now, you know Ty Siddiq.
Wait a minute.
Ty chooses not to come out because Ty, we have been, I said 1984.
Wait a minute. Wait a
23
minute.
years
Okay,
old.
so hold
Ty has been a part of the
on.
poetry communities probably for 20 years.
Ty's a big part of that.
So
community.
Ty knows where we're at every Friday. He knows all the things we have going on. Ty
So let me
chooses.
No. Okay, so let me fix this. Let me fix this.
change my focus.
Let me fix this.
Look at him. Look at him in the eye.
First of all, when Ty used to work in Richardson, because everyone who knows Ty know Ty don't like driving in traffic.
Neither.
I would be leaving work at 6:30 and say, fuck this traffic, I'm going to Heroes. And so I was popping in to Heroes on Friday nights. But Ty started working from home. So now Ty don't have to drive in traffic. So it's different when I'm already that way and I say I'm stopping. But if I volunteer to put myself in traffic, when I get to Heroes, I'm going to be pissed off. Then, on top of that, you know, we started Iron Royalty Radio 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so I have a Friday night show, and so I have to be here to help manage. There are times when I try to slip away.
It's on Friday.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I try to slip away, and the Friday show starts at 7. So if it was a regular show that started at 8, then I would leave here and let them set up themselves. But because of the time.
So many excuses.
I know. But
here's the thing. He has. We did start a new open mic about 3 months ago called DFW Unplugged.
On what?
DFW Unplugged. He did come to that. He just didn't invite the Sip.
Right, and it was a Tuesday. It was a Tuesday night.
It was a Tuesday night.
Which normally we have a show.
So I was there.
Yeah. But
he just didn't tell y'all.
The reason why the Sips wasn't there with me because we were on break. That's when we took a vacation. Okay. So when I was able to take a break, I said, hey, I don't have nothing to do. Don't have the radio show. Guess what? I have no excuse not to go support my friend. And so I sneak in. I don't like to get, I really hate when they do that. I appreciate it, but I don't appreciate it because I don't like going to places. Let me say this. First of all, because LGB has done it, Rage has done it plenty of times that they're hosting, and they'll call you out and say, hey, so-and-so's in the house, blah, blah, blah. And one time, LGB's like gave my fucking eulogy. I was like, don't ever do that again. Like, because one, like, Gino, these new people, they don't know who the hell I am. You up there talking about, yo, he's this, blah, blah, blah. And they looking at me like, who the fuck is he? And then they like, you want to open up for us? And I go up there and they like, you better move the fucking world. You better. And I'm like, no, I can't. I don't know what Raising Them is doing, and I can't do Walmart, and I'm not that. I can't do all of that stuff.
I will say that. I will say this. The Sips and the Pips and everybody is always invited to Dallas Poetry Slam on Friday nights. But I will say that Ty Ford, thank you for being a person who has always supported Dallas Poetry Slam. when you were at Jinx, when you were in the houses, when you were doing Wine Cellar. Yeah. When Ty started his open mic, which he had live bands, comedy, and poetry. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, Ty, when I started coaching some of the teams, me and Ty talked about, I talked about merging. Because that's what Gina was saying. It was a separate communities. And I talked about merging, and Ty was probably the only venue at the time that helped me merge that community of open mic and slam. And the slam poetry would come, and we would feature at Jinx, and we would feature at the Wine Cellar open mics. And that allowed the open mic community to understand that it's not separate, but we're equal. Right. We're just two different types of people, right? Right. And so Ty has always contributed. So I have listen, if he never comes to a Dallas Poetry Slam open mic again, he's done his part. He's played his seeds and paid the way.
Since everybody was scared to shoot,
he's also featured a lot of the Dallas Poetry Slam team members. A lot of his open mics. So
Ty has always been a part of the community. I want to always commend that. He's always been a part of the Dallas Poetry community. I remember wanting to be in the Wine Cellar. I remember that. And Ty finally booked me for the Wine Cellar like twice, I think. Yeah. Right? And I felt honored because I always wanted to be in the Wine Cellar. And the Wine Cellar was one of the venues in Dallas that I was like, I gotta get on that shit, right? So Ty has always been, he's always contributed, he's always been a part of, and we gotta big ups to you because
appreciate it.
So when they talk about Dallas Poetry Community being toxic, they talk about you too.
I know. I take that. And I be like, you young motherfuckers. Look, I be like, you young motherfuckers don't know me. Y'all know me. Y'all talking about because I'll cuss your ass out. Like,
I'm telling my fight.
You're not welcome in shit.
Look, I was saying, me and Candy was. Look. Me and Kenny was talking the other day. See these look, you Facebook gangster poets.
He said Facebook gangster.
Yeah, y'all what you say, the passive aggressive, what was your term you used?
I said a half-ass call out.
Half-ass call out. Gangster.
Half-ass call out. Like, we want to call you out. Right. We're not going to say name though.
Right. And then we're going to back up when we realize that you know that we talking about you. Mm-hmm. Look, I'm going to tell you something. Me and Kenny was talking the other day, and I talked about this how gangster I ass was because, look, her and Gino from Oak Cliff. Now, let me tell you how.
I live in Oak Cliff.
Let me tell you about me. First of all, I was born in Flint, Michigan.
Oh, my God.
Oh, shit. You win.
But then my mama made sure that I could always, spike the ball on everybody. So when we moved to Dallas, we lived in Bonton. Then we left Dallas, came back to Dallas, lived in Pleasant Grove, then moved to Oak Cliff. So I done been everywhere. You think of the bad places, I've been in all of them. So one night we had Chris Styles and a poet. And it was a group of poets for some reason. Look, they didn't like me. Because I realized that Chris Styles was different. It was women there, and they wanted to hear a certain type of poetry. So I would give them what they wanted. And when I tried to give them something different, I remember one time I did a poem and I was talking about the Capulets and the Montague, and one poet was sitting in the audience, finger snap, Candy. She was like, yes, because she knew what the hell everybody else was looking like.
Who is that?
What's he talking about?
Is that a football team?
Right.
I finished doing that poem, and then somebody, the audience, they did like half-ass now, like Sexy Chocolate. And then the host was like, okay, do something for the ladies now. Like, they just disregarded the poem that and I put my heart into that.
Look,
so,
I asked this baby, did he know what that is?
He went to Carter.
He was in tag.
Wow. TISD.
Look, he was in tag. Y'all know what tag meant for him?
Oh, that was the.
There you
go. He was in tag. So it wasn't talented and gifted.
No, it was bust.
It was stupid and guttable.
Wow.
Look,
that's so mean.
Look.
So you were in tag. You good. You were all right.
Him and Mike both were in tag.
Hold on. So we were at this venue, and it was a group of poets. They didn't like me because they would say they had this thing about being substance. You had to, if you want to poet, if you weren't talking about substance. So they had conspired this little thing, and so one poet was brave enough. The rest of them was kind of doing that.
It was Ken.
Oh wow, yeah, Ken.
Ken, though, this old T.
Look, so he got up on stage, and he decided that everybody else was doing the what? They were being
half-ass call out.
Half-ass call out. Everybody was half-ass call out. Ken decided that he was gonna be the man that said, "Fuck everybody, I'm gonna call you out." And he got on stage. He doing his poem. And first of all, everybody know back then I used to wear my hats. I always wore hats, but I always wore my hats and I used to cover up my face.
Jay-Z.
And I don't know why I did it, but it was always tilted to the side. And I didn't realize Jay-Z used to do that too. But so then he started doing that. But he does the poem, and in the middle of his poem, he calls me out. He says my name.
So that's that poet drama technique. Shout out Kenny Lee.
Shout out Kenny Lee. Kenny Lee.
So
carry on.
Yes.
So he's doing this poem, and he says my name, and I'm sitting out in the audience.
Wow.
I stand up and stop the whole show. It's not my show.
No, you have to.
I'm not the host.
He said your name.
I'm just another poet. But I stand up and I stop and say, hold on. What we not finna do is let this poem finish with you talking about me. We can take this shit outside. And we went outside, and his crew and my crew was ready.
Was it like Beat It?
It was almost.
It was like Beat It?
No, for real. Look, and I don't know if they really wanted to fight, but I think they looked at me and said, if this fool is this bold enough to stop a show, that it's different if I would have stopped the wine cellar. Right. That was my shit. I could do that. Right. But I'll stop something. It wasn't their show.
Stop somebody else's show.
Somebody else's show, and you tell that poet to stop your poem because you will not disrespect me on stage.
So let this be a note to the poets prior to Facebook, the Twitter fingers.
Right.
You got called out in the streets. And I come from a scene where folks broke glass and had guns and was ready to whoop your ass in a parking lot. So I think it's cute that you stay on Facebook. I think Facebook protects a lot of you in social media. Exactly. But just know that there was a time when you said stuff about poets and it was no, it's a safe space and I just want to speak my mind. It was, okay, well, when I see you outside, I'm going to whoop your ass.
Right.
And that's just old school street shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, and now you have Facebook and Twitter and all this stuff where you can like throw shade and you not get called out. So I just like you said that because I have been a part of a couple of situations, you and me both, where a fight was gonna go down. Gino done slapped a couple of motherfuckers. Candy done went off on a couple of motherfuckers.
I'm
sorry. When he said we had to change, that was part of the change.
Yeah, that was part of the growth.
We had to leave Oak Cliff outside of the poetry practices. And I had to say, Gino, we're not gonna act ignorant. Well, bitch, this ain't for me. Okay, Gino. And Candy had to say, you know what, girl, take the high road, like Michelle Obama said. And that's what we did. That's what we're doing now.
Right.
But just know
that back in the day, you would have got your ass
whooped. If they called your name out in a poem, I called your name right back out. And it was nothing but a thing. You could just, like I said, for my phone number is 214-577-1692. Even respectfully, you can inbox me. Look, or every Friday, 7402 Greenville Avenue. Shout out to Heroes Lounge. So please understand, and I believe that some people need to understand that don't let this poetry fool you. Like people have backgrounds and resumes, and creating a safe space means that God has worked on me. And him and you.
Right.
He's working on a lot of people.
Right.
And just know that, back in the day, we didn't have Facebook and social media. It was just, I'm going to whoop your ass if you saying some shit about me.
Right.
But now, because I am a leader and because I am a respectful coach and stuff, and I have grown and matured as a professional, and Ty as well, and Gino and Jonathan White as well, Ty Ford, we have learned to understand that, hey, you know what? I'm just going to let you go.
Yeah.
People have backgrounds.
Because it's not working out for us.
Look,
resumes and criminal records.
Some of those fights and almost fights.
Check your record before you start.
Do some research on your research.
Check my record before you start. Because I'm not gonna argue with y'all at Facebook. I don't do it, and that's why I stay out people's.
That's why I do too.
I mean, seriously. Yeah. Even if somebody's going back and forth, I stay off of it because I ain't got good sense. Because here's the thing: you think it's it's just for
Facebook.
Facebook.
Right.
But I'll
you think it's just words and soliloquies.
I'll come and find you. Because it's too easy to find you.
And let me say this, Ken. I'm ever been 5'11".
Satellite.
Ken, what was like 6'3", 6'2", 6'3"?
Well, I wish you when you got your gun out your truck. Okay, it's time for commercial.
Look, I had one of my poets that was part of one of my bands decide that he was gonna get mad at me and fight me at one of my shows because he got exposed for not paying his band. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna fight you, but what I'm finna do is go to my trunk and take care of you. He go to your trunk, and everybody was like, "Do you know who the hell you talking to?" And here I am walking to the trunk, and they like, "Run!"
They say thou shalt not throw shades if you can't throw hands.
Right?
I was over metaphors 3 minutes ago.
But the funny part about that is
I don't even play with people like that because here's the thing. You like fight fake.
No, I gave the.
I don't play with people like that.
Look, but I do provide a safe space.
At the wine cellar. Yeah, the wine cellar was safe until you fucked with me. I had to give away my gun. I gave my gun away because it was a couple of times that
legally you had to turn it over to the police.
I was just like, I'm gonna mess around and really have to use this. Now let me say this because since the show we wrapping up.
Questions or calls?
No, they scared. So I'm just gonna take. I'm finna take some shots because we can relate to the shit back in the day. The shit that y'all mad about and y'all on Facebook huffing and puffing about, ain't none of that shit new. Y'all just got this. Y'all got this platform to have other people liking and all that stuff. So y'all mad, and I'm gonna say this. All y'all out there, y'all mad either about some money that you really didn't earn, or you mad about who fucked who and who fucked you and who not fucking you no more and who you wanted to fuck but didn't fuck you, or you found out that you thought you was being slick because you was fucking everybody but then you found out that they was fucking you.
Wow.
And they was all in a team and taking turns fucking you. Right.
I didn't want to go down that path, but that's very accurate.
So a lot of times it's toxic because your ass got tied up with your feelings and you wasn't doing poems, you was selling pussy. And you wasn't getting no money for it. All you was getting was recognition. But when you stopped getting recognition, see, because you went over your time limit. I think they got 3 minutes. So you don't went over your time limit giving away your pussy to all your poets. Or your penis.
Or slave.
Should I be snapping right now?
Yeah, or your penis.
Don't snap.
No snapping? Okay.
And you didn't have any longevity. You was a new hot thing that came on the scene.
She was a queen.
And you was a queen in your mind, but didn't nobody treat you like a queen. But first of all, it's not the way that they treated you, it's the way that you treated yourself. You made yourself unqueen worthy. And wanted to step up on the throne. Well, when you found out that your throne was a bed or the backseat of a car, then you realize that you really you're not as queen as you thought you were.
Wait a minute.
Can I give the properly correct version of what he just said? Keep going. I'm gonna give the correct. I'm gonna give the interpretation. This is my interpretation of what Ty said.
Somebody say, my.
Sometimes, it's better for you to close your legs.
Wow.
And just, whoever legs those are, would be it man or woman.
Right.
Or non-gender conforming.
Yeah, thank you.
To understand that sometimes you just need to focus on your artistry.
Right.
As a person and not get caught up in the sexual things that goes on in certain communities and and if you do, just understand that sometimes just because you are intimate with someone doesn't mean you're going to be in a relationship with somebody.
Right.
So, and if that relationship does not occur, you got to be able to understand that whether that person was lying or truthful, own what your part was in it. Exactly. Don't become bitter. Become better. And just know that there is something better for you in the future because God loves everybody.
Exactly. And you have to understand. Can I be artistic?
Go ahead, Ty.
So some people need to know the difference between knowing that you were just an open mic poet versus a feature. You wasn't his feature. You wasn't her feature. You were just her open mic. You was her icebreaker.
Stop.
It was a sacrifice.
Right, that's all you were, and you just have to accept that. and write it, because guess what? Because I can go back in history and tell you that I sacrificed some, and whether or not I ever want to admit it or not, I realized that there were a few times that I was the sacrifice. Didn't know it, but you know what? I had to learn and grow. And when I started doing the wine cellar, I had to tell my dudes that were working with me, you see those people out there? You can't be sleeping with everybody out there because you know why? They bring the money in, and if you're sleeping with too many, as soon as they get sent, especially for the fellas, I can only talk to the fellas because I am a fella. Right. I said because I'm a man, so I can only talk. If I'm doing every woman that's out in the audience, eventually they're gonna catch feelings, and they might catch feelings in the wrong way. And now we done went from having 80 people, 90 people, 100 people coming up in here. Now we down to 20, and the reason why is because yo fucking done fucked us. So sometimes you need to find you a feature and sit your ass down, or make sure that your open mics know that they're open mics.
Anybody can get on an open mic.
Right.
Or as my big mama used to say, sometimes, girl, you need to keep that cookie.
So, Ty, are you allowing me and Gino to do like just little 2-minute closing statements?
Yes, please.
So, I have a question first. Because I'm confused.
Shout out to all the people that I was talking about that I know you know I'm talking about you.
Because I'm confused and I need to know what's going on. And I need to know, like, this person's like stage name. Is it Poho? Poet Ho?
Poho. Coming to the stage, Poho.
Okay, let me answer your question.
It's a lot of.
Oh no! Because I'm gonna use myself.
It's Rage Funk.
I'm gonna use myself as an example.
Right.
I'm not gonna put another poet on blast. I'm gonna use myself because if I use myself, then nobody gets incriminated, right?
Okay.
So when I came on the scene years ago, I was a pretty young thing. Michael Jackson forward. And I was intimate with a poet who's no longer here, rest in peace. And so when I was intimate with this poet, for whatever reason, a lot of women poets was after this poet. It was a lot of mess, it was a lot of drama going on. And so people chose to like they say they talk, people gossip, right? Yeah. And sometimes that's what happens in a lot of these scenes. People talk behind your back and they tell your business, right? I didn't know my business was being told, but it was. And when me and this poet decided not to interact with each other, then I had other women poets getting on stage using my name in poems. And I felt hurt because I felt like I entrusted this poet with something that was sacred to me.
Yeah.
And then he in turn was after these other women, which it happens, right?
Right.
I don't blame the whole community for that. I blame me for choosing a person in poor choice. I blame me for trusting someone that I really shouldn't have trusted, right? Then I met my ex-husband and, we did our thing or whatever. And I even had another encounter in the poetry community where somebody I mistrusted and they abused that trust and disrespected me. And I went through that. I went through all of these things. So what Ty is saying is sometimes it's not them, it's you. Sometimes as a person, as a woman, I had to look at Candy and I had to say, Candy, why are you still entrusting yourself to these type of people who don't really value your worth?
Right.
And at the end of the day, when it doesn't work out the way I want it to, then all of a sudden, either I'm going to blame the community or I'm going to get better. And I had some people in my ear, like a Gino, like my best friend, LD, like people who told me, hey, when you go wake up and understand you are bigger than this, you're better than this, you are better than the people you're choosing to associate yourself with. When I realized that I was better than that, no door has been closed to me. Right. Every door, matter of fact, roofs have been open to me. So in retrospect, what I'm saying is, what you're saying, Ty, is that sometimes we make bad choices.
Right.
It's okay to own the emotion of failure. It's okay to understand that you're gonna make bad decisions.
Right.
It's okay to own the emotion of jealousy. It's okay to own the emotion of envy. And when you own that emotion, you say, okay, how can I be a better person from this? What did I learn from this situation so I will never go back to that motherfucker, person.
Motherfucker, right?
Again. So when as people, and I say this, as people, you gotta understand, if they don't value your worth, don't blame the community, blame the situation,
right.
And see, hey, what can I contribute as an artist to the community? So even though Kandi had a couple of bad experiences, it didn't make me bitter.
Right.
We all do.
It made me better. I remember going to this man and Sankofa saying, I think I'm done with this poetry community. And I remember me and him had several conversations. He was like, why? I was like, because I did this. And it took me going, just being in Sankofa as a listener. He asked him, I didn't get on stage. I just needed to be surrounded around poetry that I knew was positive and it wasn't toxic. And not toxic in the sense of the community, toxic in the person that was doing it. Right. So when I got that, I was like, you know what? I know that my gift is bigger than their mess. And so after that, it was like, it changed. It changed for me. It shifted. And guess what? I still have issues. Clearly, we still have folks hating, talking about you. You still got people go talk about you. They talk about Kandi, they talk about Ray, talk about Gino. To this day, right now, we still had a post a couple of days ago. They still talking about it. So what am I doing? Hey, Women of the World, March 14th through the 17th, 2018. Make sure y'all come out to that. Right. Hey, we had Saul Williams back here on October 19th. Hey, Dallas Poetry Slam, it's only $1 to get in this Friday. Okay. 200 people every Friday. You keep going. You keep pushing through the mess so you can get the message to the people who need to hear it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the thing. Like Ty was saying, we have folks that really made you want to kick their ass. But in retrospect, you're like, you know what? You are so beneath me. Yeah. You are insignificant. I don't have the time. And the only reason, let me say this, that me and Gino, we do not have the time to do this interview. But the only reason I dragged my son from Carrollton and I dragged Gino from where we was to do this interview so that I can address this.
Here?
Yeah, he in there playing video games.
That little nigga.
So that I can address this.
He walked right in and went to my video game.
And the point that we wanted to make tonight, that you was barking on social media, but you ain't biting shit.
Right.
And if you don't have the balls or the vagina to call in, the ovaries to call in and address it and discuss it, then me and Gino have said what we had to say. And guess what? Keep our names out your mouths. Stop talking about it's toxic and let us be about our business and move on. And either you're going to be on our side or you in our way. We got a work to do. And we working. Right. And you're not. Right. So we can't. We done. We done. We had to do. And guess what? Did I go for 2 minutes?
Yes, you did.
What she said?
Gino, take your 2 minutes.
So
what she said?
I'm sorry. I went on my 2 minutes.
Yeah, what she said.
Wait.
Look, no. Real talk. Because, and that's why earlier I asked the question about, especially specific to Gino, by going back, and sometimes you got to know, the history, and you got to know where some people came from. Like when a lot of times when people think about me, they like old school, but Kandi really is kind of in that weird.
She in the cusp.
Yeah, she's
a weird millennial.
Because she's actually way younger than us. Like when I realized how young Kandi was, I was like, damn, you was like I thought you was like around. You've been around like she was the kid that snuck in the club when she was too young, and then you realize, wait a minute. But it was funny because even though back then we was making mistakes and we did all kinds of crazy shit, I think we were more innovative in knowing what we were. And there was some people that was like the same, didn't know what the hell they was doing, so they were just out there just trying to feel their way and trying to get some popularity. But the one thing that I always tell people, me, Gino, we didn't run in the same circles. Me, Rock Baby, we didn't run in the same circles. We didn't, I would come to Sankofa, but we weren't like buddy.
Right.
But I think when we kind of, and just like it felt like we hit that old, the old poet status. I think we were at Brick House. Or not Brick House. What was the place downtown? Lana's place.
Oh, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And we were all sitting around. They were like, "Oh, the old school, blah 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 blah." And you said something to me about that, and I was just like, "Damn, he kind of feel he considered me, he considered me part of the crew." Because we all were doing our own thing, and it wasn't about, oh, I'm trying to be better than you, or I'm gonna knock what you did because I'm not a part of what you did. Because I always felt like, even when I was doing the wine cellar, I always tell people, for me, Sankofa and Chris Styles was like home. And it was like two different, it was like your mama and your daddy. Your daddy's side of the family wild and crazy. Mama's side is, reserved. And so when we wanted to go chill out and just have that real deep moment, that's when we go to Sankofa. Chris Styles, we knew it was going to be party and do whatever, wild shit. Sankofa, if you got in a fight at Sankofa, you probably got in a fight with somebody outside walking around trying to sell you some keys to a vending machine.
Right.
I had a man do that. He walked up, got some keys to a vending machine. But anyway, my point is,
or somebody won't stop cleaning your window when
right. we realized that if I couldn't be a part of Dallas Slam, that didn't mean I had to have an issue with Dallas Slam. I could still support Dallas Slam and not be a part of it, and be doing my thing, and Dallas Slam would support me. And when I really felt so that day when we talked, and it was like the old school, was like, and I think somebody brought up that legends thing or old poets or something, and we was like, what the fuck? But I got sick, and me and Candy have been knowing each other for years, so it wasn't a shock to me that she was there for me when I was going through my battle with cancer. But I remember we was getting ready. It was time to do the wine cellar, and I had just started chemo, and I was in bad shape. And so I had made up my mind that we weren't going to do the wine cellar. I think it was like the 11th year in a row, the anniversary for the 11th year. And I was like, no. And Candy was like, no, you can't stop it. Like, you can't stop it. And if I need to step in and help your team organize this, then we're going to do it. And I was like, cool, do it. And during the planning stage, we didn't even know if I was going to be healthy enough to show up, because I couldn't be around a lot of people, and germs and everything. And one of the requests that I made, Candy did a great job of coming in and taking charge of the team, and and put together the event. And one of the requests that I had was, I wanted Gino to be there, even if I couldn't be there, and I wanted him to go up, and I didn't care if he did a poem, but I wanted him to sing "Happy Birthday."
Happy birthday, motherfucker.
And the way he sang "Happy Birthday" is "Happy Birthday, motherfucker." And I was just like, and one of my homeboy that brought me, he was like, "Why'd you ask him to sing "Happy Birthday, motherfucker"? Ain't that kind of offensive?" I was like, not to me, because I needed that laugh. And when Gino reached out and said, "I will be there," he said, "I will be there. Even if you can't be there," he said, "I hope you're there. But if you're not, I'm still going to be there and do it." And when you performed, when you was up there performing, I was downstairs. So I don't know if you knew I was there, but I was downstairs dying. Yeah, I was dying laughing. And I could barely walk up the stairs. They had to help me up the stairs because I was so weak. Wow. But it took a minute to come up the stairs because I was laughing, because when I heard the band crank up and I heard Gino sing "Happy Birthday, motherfucker," I was like dying laughing. So I really appreciate that. But the point is, on this particular post that came out this week, that was one of the things so sometimes people be bitching about stuff and you give them solutions and they rebuttal so they really didn't want to answer. Right. You gave Candy, you opened up the opportunity for people to voice their opinion. If they had something to say tonight, they could have said it, but they chose not to. It doesn't make sense if you have an opportunity and you don't. Gino told him and said, look, and Brady said it earlier, there's different venues that you can go to.
So many.
You can't
blame just because you don't get along with this group or this person. You can't blame that on the whole community. And when you do, you become the toxic person. You are the toxic person because there are people saying, I didn't even know it was a problem.
Right.
You started.
Exactly.
And
they don't know what it is. They still don't know. Right. They're like, what are you talking about?
And Gino, you gave them solutions. Look, we may not be the best for you. You might not get along. We may not get along with you. But guess what? You got a whole bunch of other options. And so your life shouldn't be over just because you can't rock with us. So I appreciate the fact that you said that, even though the people who did that, they didn't appreciate it. So your final words, sir.
Well, my final words, I don't want to hold this long. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, tying the sips, letting us air it out.
It's the sweet one.
Yes. But all I have to say in closing, I just leave you with the eternal question.
Eternal question. Classic.
And that is, what if Rosa Parks had a car?
I'm sorry. Could we do one more thing? Could we do one thing?
Yes.
Can we talk about a lot of the negative shit that's been going on? Right. We talk about some of the great shit that's going on in Dallas Poetry Slam. We talked about a lot of the crazy shit. And we did a really brief run over of all the great shit. Right. So let's have a definitive run over. Candy.
Tell the people what y'all got coming up.
You take it away with all the great shit that's happening on Dallas Poetry Slam. And for the people who don't know about Dallas Poetry Slam, what they could be a part of.
So first of all, I want to say thank you, Ty, for having us. I appreciate this opportunity. I appreciate this platform. Thank you, Sips and Pips. For having us.
Only Sips. No,
it's only Sips. Y'all Sips too.
Nah, they the crew.
They the crew.
Just the crew.
Sips and the crew. Okay, thank you for having us.
Sips and Pips.
Great things is, the first thing is, of course, Dallas Poetry Slam weekly, 150, 200 people every Friday. Make sure you come out support. Every fourth Tuesday, we have DFW Unplug at Checker Pass Winery, which is our evening event. It's at Lamar Street in the Cedars. We also have the Dallas Youth Poets, who is our Dallas Youth Poets youth team, which is coached by Rage Almighty, Terry Otis, and Princess. We also have partnerships with Big Thought organization, Writers Garrett nonprofit organization, and the Dallas Public Library. We have implemented a teaching artist program where we're into over 20 schools in the Dallas Independent School District, where we go in as poets and teach writing workshops and help these help these babies get to their next level. And despite the fact that people may think that we have inappropriate teaching artists, that is a lie and that is the untruth. All of our teaching artists have been thoroughly trained. And again, if you have a dispute with that, you can call me at 214-577-1692. It's also my signature. Also, the Dallas Poetry Slam team is ranked number 5th in the nation. We are also bringing down in the nation, in the country, out of 80, 19. Thank you. We also have the annual 10th anniversary of the Women of the World Poetry Slam coming back to Dallas. Coming back again that we had in 2017. Bigger and better and better. Also, I want to give a shout out to my Dallas Slam poets, Rage Almighty, Javon Weston, Wayne Henry, Melania Louisa, who are currently, they're teaching artists, they're traveling, they're all over the country, they're doing things, traveling grace for Wayne and Rage, they go to Atlanta, and then Rage just came back from Canada, and they're doing great things. Please come out, support everything we do. You can go to our website if you want to be a partner, if you want to contribute. We have so many things. We're getting ready to start our youth open mic, which will have more things in the works for that. I know I'm forgetting something because we have so much going on. But those are most of the things that we have going on. So in terms of poetry in the community, we're evolving, we're elevating, we're doing things that has never been done in this poetry community. Shout out to WordSpace for partnering with us to bring down Saul Williams, which has never been done. Epic. Well, he has come to Dallas, but it's never been done in that capacity. Epic things that we're doing, and we got bigger things coming on. We are planning to bring down the National Poetry Slam competition to Dallas, which is going to bring down thousands of poets. And we're getting bigger, we're getting better. And we just thank you all for supporting us, for sticking by us. And if you want to be a part of the Dallas Poetry community, you can go to our website at www.thedallasportryslam.com. Follow us on all of our social media sites because we are doing great things, and with everyone's help, we can continue that process.
So I have a question before we go.
Yeah.
I write music. So if I said I want to write, poetry, music is poetry. Yeah.
Sit your ass down.
So if I said I wanted to do inappropriate poetry.
No. We're not even go there.
What does that mean?
Look.
Just nasty freaky
Nasty freaky shit?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's actually a space for you.
Really?
No. No.
Stop saying no. Come on, Ray.
Look,
I know you dirty. Listen, there's a space for you.
No,
pull
not dirty.
out the black book and blacklist that name right now.
How do I get blacklisted before I even start?
Apparently, there's so many people blacklisted. It's so funny.
Until you motherfuckers that think there's a blacklist, guess what? I'm creating one. And I'm not on no damn slam team, so get mad at me. Direct it to me. We'll talk about that blacklist.
Got the book right here.
I don't know much about Dallas, but I have been to Heroes before. I just don't remember where it is. Because I don't know Dallas.
I remember when you were at Heroes.
Shut up.
Hey. So I got a play coming up in January. Kingdom Come 2 years ago. Well, it will be 3 by the time we do this. 3 years ago, we did Kingdom Come. When we first launched it. And Dallas Slam opened up each show and did intermission for us. The reviews from the show were so off the chain, but the people also, they loved the entire show. They were like, oh my God, the play was off the chain, but the intermission, the poetry, all of that added into it. They thought it was like, that was part of the entire show. Yeah. We didn't plan it that way. Right. It's just, because me and Candy know each other so well, when I asked, would she do it, the team came, and I didn't even tell them what to do. They just customized their performance with the play, and it fit so well that people during intermission didn't get up. They didn't want to get up. They just stayed there. It was like, shit. The vendors got mad, but it was like, hey. So it was like, sometimes you can't have that good a talent.
That's awesome.
But I really appreciate it because we're getting ready to do that show again, and it's like, people's like, is the Poets going to be there?
So you're going to have us again?
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
We'll talk about that.
That was a great experience. I love your show. That was great.
Yeah. And the Poets really, I was like, these niggas, I was like, they act like they ain't never did poetry before. But it was just the whole concept of bringing it all together. It was just like, it was real nice. And the people.
I was excited I got to see this show for free. I was sitting there.
Right?
All the shows.
It was real. It was dope.
Yeah. And when the girl opened up her raincoat.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But let me talk about the women in your
That's about to happen again.
Right. But I want to thank y'all for coming out. Thank Ray for joining.
Thank you for the platform and opportunity.
Yes.
Oh yeah, anytime. Real talk. And
just to go on record by saying this will be the last time Gino will address any of this again.
All right.
But I'm available all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a PR person.
And I'm available every Tuesday. So if you're mad because I called your feature open mic. Wow. If I made you feel like that you never was a feature, then I'm sorry.
Poho.
And somebody tagged that. Somebody posted that Poho.
We're going to hashtag that.
Hashtag Poho. You didn't know you was a Poho until you became a Poho. But we really appreciate y'all coming out, and y'all keep listening to Time to Sips. Before we close the show, you said the birthday suck?
They do, they whack.
Okay, well give us a few whack ones.
Okay. Well, y'all know how I do. I'm gonna start with Sunday.
Y'all know how I do.
Oh God, here we go. Come on,
I had to sit there. It was really
come on,
right.
Country.
Wait to this. Who am I?
Y'all.
Who am I?
Zeddy.
Oh.
What?
I do.
I waited all my life for somebody to say call me Zeddy.
Look, Rage.
I waited all my life for somebody to call me Zeddy.
Rage, you know.
Zaddy. Hey, Zaddy.
Ignorance.
Rage,
I love that shit.
You know I'm older, and I was like, when I first heard the term, I was like, I ain't like it.
But I love it.
When we added her to the show, and the first time she said it, I was like, ooh.
But she said it just right. Say it again.
Zeddy.
Ooh! She said that shit perfect. And so, look, we get married like that.
She gotta say every
Don't
week.
fuck around and call me Zaddy like that.
Ooh, Zaddy. Ooh.
And she likes it up the butt.
See?
You know what?
And someone who says Zaddy like that better.
Look, Team
Somebody
Zaddy.
said Team Zaddy.
I'm not supposed to be here. I'm sorry. I'm
Yes,
supposed to be here.
girl.
Sorry.
They saying, how did you get here?
I'm sorry.
You can't get pregnant that way.
Yes, you can.
Yes, can. Always.
Trust me, I'm trying.
Say with him like that, you'll get pregnant tomorrow. Listen, how about you stop?
Oh my. Moving on, y'all.
Look, before she joined the show, I always said, yeah, if they below 35, they ain't have no chance.
Right.
And she came in here talking about Zaddy. I was just like, you know what?
She might,
Maybe my life is fucked up.
You
Maybe
might
I need to reconsider.
you might get up
Right.
Listen.
Look,
Zaddy is it.
I was like,
Maybe I missed
Zaddy
it.
is in.
I was like, hold on, say it
again.
again. Say it again. Say it again.
Say it one more time.
Zaddy is life.
And
Zaddy is life.
Zaddy like, look, somebody they go sign.
Now
I'm sorry, y'all.
Hold on.
Now
I had to cover up.
like you saying
And
when
do
you
you-
go up your butt.
And do you have any kids? Do you have any children?
No children yet.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Keep saying that. You will.
Take it up the butt.
You will. That's because you're taking up the butt.
You know what?
You can't get pregnant
God
of the
damn it,
butt.
I'm moving on.
You can't get pregnant of the butt. So I
Look.
have kids already.
I had to reconsider. I said, you know what? I'm gonna send the 40-year-olds to Caleb and maybe I need to.
Look, we molest people on this show. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Seen that earlier.
Shout out to Team Zaddy. Yeah.
Seen that earlier.
Yes.
Anyway, y'all. Larry King.
What is this?
Who the fuck
I
is
can't.
Larry King?
Look,
He's 150. Come on. Keep
Look, 3 years ago, if I was talking to a woman and she was doing this, I'd be like, get your ass out.
I love it. Listen.
Look, I'm 43 now. I don't give a damn. She could be doing this. I mean,
Sophisticated.
Because after this,
I'm sophisticated as fuck.
because after this comes
That baby grabbing all kinds of
Yeah,
hair.
look, because this is what I'm
That's
doing. Look,
sophisticated.
to the people watching the camera, while she doing this, go and do that. That's all I'm doing.
I just hold her hands and stay still.
Like, sometimes you realize it ain't worth fighting. You just be like,
I mean,
When y'all argue, she gonna do this shit. You
Right.
what the fuck?
Okay, that shit ain't gonna be cute when she starts. What
That's what
the
she
fuck you been? The fuck you talking? Why she on your motherfucking face?
And she gonna end up. She gonna pop in your forehead. Like, wait a minute.
that's what she would be saying to one of them, one of y'all. Where you been? Me? I'm old. Where you been?
In the
Oh,
bed.
In the room.
In the bed.
She was in the living room. She thought I was gone.
Right.
I was in the bed.
That's funny.
In the room watching TV,
y'all silly.
watching WWE.
Now, like I was saying,
If you didn't know,
Okay, move to her legs.
I'm used to my when they talk their hands like this. We finna square out.
Look, but
Put
that
your hands
hand
down.
ain't gonna stop moving, right?
Right.
Keep going. Okay,
Okay,
Larry King is
birthdays.
how old?
Larry King is 84, y'all.
Lies.
For those that don't know, that's a talk show
nigga
host.
should be dead by now.
I know.
Lies.
That's
He's
who we look
105.
up to.
He's 105. Let's keep going.
Calvin Klein turned 75.
Damn.
I love you. Yeah.
I kind of like
I
this
love you.
jeans.
Yeah.
I still like his jeans.
Booty house.
Right. Lil Mo, y'all turned 39.
For why?
Lies.
Shit
Lies.
She's like
Lies.
43.
She gotta be older than me.
She was born in 78.
Yeah, Nick.
Lil Mo? Hell no. Lil Mo? Hell no. Oh, she get on my nerves.
Yeah, Nick.
She was camping for
That's
the
not a year.
Shout out to Dream Doll though.
I thought today at work.
Settle down. Come on. Who's next?
And then also, y'all, Tiger turned 28 on Sunday.
Tiger from BET.
Tigger.
No, the rapper.
I'm saying Tyga the rapper.
The rapper, Tyga the rapper.
What the fuck is all these animals? What are we talking about?
I remember Tigger.
Big Tigger.
Yeah.
Big Tigger, yeah.
Yeah, from the basement.
Okay.
Anyway, y'all, moving on.
They say he liked it from the butt too.
I'm gonna go out this way. Sorry.
You good?
I thought it was a pit.
You come on, sit over here. You're a pit.
Anyway, y'all, Tamika Scott from Escape turned
Yes.
42 on Monday.
That was the lead singer?
No.
That's
Well,
that's
she
a
should
little
have
thick
been.
black chick.
Candy was kind of the lead. She
she the one that looked like the Cabbage
the one that
Patch.
can sing.
Yeah, she liked the Cabbage Patch.
She's like, yeah.
Sing.
I seen it on Facebook. Oh god, that was funny. I seen
Who
it.
the hell is Tiny?
T.I. White.
Oh yeah,
The OMG girls. I
Bro,
know I
Smokey
am.
Robinson daughter.
Tip, you know.
Tamika could sing. Her and her sister sang. There's a difference.
And Mike D from the Beastie Boys turned 50.
I'm Mike D and I get respect.
Wait.
Appearance and equality is what I.
From the who?
Beastie
From
Boys.
the Beastie Boys.
Hell yeah,
See, that's what I'm saying. She didn't say.
Huh?
The fuck is a Beastie Boys? I know who he is. He said it's right.
Brass monkey.
That was my favorite.
That's what I was saying.
Let me ask you this: do you know the dance that they used to do too? You remember the dance they used to do?
No, because I went and looked it up.
Brass
It
Brass
was a
monkey
white
dance.
man.
Oh yeah, I ain't know nothing about it. I knew the song. I ain't know the dance.
Yeah.
Moving on, y'all. My favorite white lady, Goldie Hawn, turned 72 today.
70.
Love her.
You supposed to be getting lotto loans from the corner.
Favorite white
She
woman.
beautiful. That's
No,
Kate
no,
Hudson's mom.
not her. I'm talking about
We gotta verify that.
Goldie Hawn.
What the hell?
Hell no, that's a pass.
What?
Back in the day, she was cute.
Oh, okay. I
How?
see that.
She did Bird on the Wire and
Back in the day, she could have got smashed.
Why? No,
Well, y'all need to look up her daughter, Kate Hudson, then.
Like she looked like a bitch. She got the smallest titties, and I'm not mad at her because she didn't go get surgery. She just kept those little things, and you know, that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? No,
And that's
seriously.
natural blonde hair for both of them. Yes, natural blonde.
She just kept
Moving on, y'all. Tomorrow, Jamie Lee Curtis will be 59.
Oh,
From Halloween.
I thought she was older than that. Okay.
Scarlett Johansson will be 33 tomorrow.
Smash all day.
We don't know who she is.
Scarlett can get it.
Oh, goddamn, you ain't lying, buddy.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
That's it.
No. And also tomorrow, Candace Glover from American Idol will be 28.
Don't know her.
I only know her because, some drama. But anyways, Thursday, John Hinton will be 57.
Is that the Muppets, man? The Muppets,
No,
man?
single
Overton.
in the 90s kind of
Oh,
world.
you know, I like my favorite line of him is he's like, "No, I'm lying, just trying to get attention again."
Right. And Miley Cyrus will be 25. I thought she was
Ho-ho.
No booty.
But would y'all smash though?
Probably.
Ew!
Twerk.
It looked like it smells bad.
Only from the front.
Hey, she ain't got nothing. Go ahead.
Oh.
Friday,
Look, you see how
y'all.
fast I said it? I tried to say it without revealing it. Probably.
Okay. Friday,
Friday, y'all. Denise Crosby will be 60.
who the hell is that? Bing Crosby's wife?
Probably daughter.
This Tasha Yore from Star Trek.
Don't know. Keep going.
I didn't watch Star Trek. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know her either.
And then lastly, y'all, Christina Applegate. I love her too. She will be 46
Oh, Kelly
on
Bundy.
Saturday.
Yeah, she
She'll
can
be
get
what?
46.
Kelly
I
Bundy.
still smash that. I still smash that.
I'll be
Yeah,
45
Kelly
in
can
a
still
couple
get it.
weeks, so.
Just
And
because I
don't tell
remember
mom
her.
the babysitter's dead.
Married with children.
Kelly Bundy, married with children.
And that's it for the birthdays, y'all. Let's give it up for all the celebs.
Birthday.
Oh.
All right, y'all. So we're about to wrap up the show, but before we finish, everybody, real quick, since Thanksgiving this week, everybody close the show out about it. If you want to give out a shout out or what you're thankful for.
Come on, what are you thankful for?
I am thankful for life, breath.
Just turned into Michelle Obama all of a sudden.
My family, friends, loved
Say
ones,
it.
lovers, haters. I'm thankful for my haters, my enemies. That's what you preached about last Sunday. Thank you, Jesus, Lord. Oh, yes.
I can't stand it.
Alright, my turn. Alright, so I'm just thankful for all the opportunities I had in 2017. Looking forward to the future, 2018. Thankful for all the people that I met here recently.
Yes.
And it's just positive vibes, man. 2018 is the year. Domination.
How about that?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I second that on the people that we met this year. Spiritual growth, maturity, life as a whole, I guess. You know.
Thankful for Mike. Yeah. D Solo.
That's on you, man.
Go ahead, Solo.
Okay, with my last week of life, I'm thankful for life, family. You know,
You better get deep.
just no, not to get deep. Like I say, life, family, just the ability to have function over my limbs because I've seen it, I've witnessed it. You know, my opportunities. I'm thankful for my friends, my support staff. I don't think I have haters because I don't really do shit. So I can't say I don't have haters. I'm thankful for, you know, my job, my house, my child, a productive lifestyle. That's it.
All right. So I am thankful for you guys, number one. Really. It's always this is my release time. So I thank God for all of you, what you've done in whatever capacity in my life. Of course, all the basics, family, you know, breath. And when you have a lung disease, you thank God for every breath you get. So honestly, I thank God for that. But for the talents, for all the talents, I've been blessed to have several businesses, and I am, my God, so thankful, especially for this newest one. Absolutely. And like you said, for 2018, I'm looking for bigger and greater things, and that includes meat.
That's three-hander. That's three-hander.
I want that to shoot.
I just said it's gonna be some meat in this.
Shout out to all the guys.
I know my sister. She said she gonna be
are well hung and you know,
girthy.
Maybe girthy. I'm thankful for you. I didn't get to see a whole lot in 2017, so I'm hoping
that's a good thing.
Well, it is.
If you've seen too many, we have to question you.
I'll actually only seen one, but in 2017. So
that nigga leg still probably he's still flexing on the motherfucker.
So, you know, shout out to 2018. I'm looking to, you know, maybe see more.
I'm really looking forward to July of 18 this year.
Ooh, what's happening? Tell us what's happening. You want me to tell us what's happening?
Nah.
No? Because I'll say it. You want me to say what's happening?
Nah, I'm looking forward to 18.
July.
July 18.
How many months is that from now?
What's in July 18?
Oh, girl, I can't stand you.
I'm the baby.
I'm the baby's baby.
I'm the baby.
Somebody got that.
Oh.
Never mind.
Somebody got a rugrat on the way. Oops. It ain't me. I didn't shut it down a long time ago. So just happy.
I ain't shot up no clubs.
And you ain't shot up no clubs.
I ain't the suspect.
I ain't even take my gun and they don't have
my gun loaded, but
well, shout out to Iron Royalty Radio. Shout out to Kingdom Come, the play that's coming up, where I am the assistant director. I'm excited about that coming up. Yes. And so, but just for where the radio station is going, y'all have to keep listening. Y'all have to keep, supporting.
Moving out on the radio. Shout out to the Bros. Happy anniversary.
To who?
To the Bros. Happy anniversary.
Whatever the Bros is.
They already know.
The Qs. The anniversary for the Qs was the other day.
I know. We went on
Shout
radio.
out to the Qs. I was so hoping I could get a Q that day, but yes, shout out to all you guys and all your endeavors and all you guys are doing, DJing, modeling, you know, hosting, speaking, whatever. I'm just excited for where we're going on this show. So, really, I think that's it. I'm good. Thank you for it all.
Everybody be careful. Be safe.
Everybody be careful. Be safe.
Just in case y'all forgot, Cowboys lost Sunday. Bengals won against
Ties.
The Bengals won against Ties Broncos.
We don't care about
love y'all.
This year.
Y'all have a great Thursday.
Awesome
still had about them boys.
Who's cooking in the room? Anybody cooking?
Yeah, I brought plates. I'm bringing plates.
What the fuck? That's not what I said. Who's cooking?
That's cooking. You can't eat this shit if I ain't got no plates.
What you cooking?
I'm cooking for Thanksgiving.
What are you cooking?
I made some greens. I'm baking this
what
ham.
The fuck do you know
and I'm making some dressing with the Ghibli gravy.
What the who gravy?
Stove top.
The who gravy?
Say it again.
And I'm making some rolls and a sweet potato.
You don't make rolls? Are you making them from scratch?
So it sounds like you have a Thanksgiving by yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna need my own little
Come on, Ty, because I don't know what Ghibli gravy is.
I don't know what the fuck she just said.
What you say?
It sounds lumpy. Whatever she said sounds lumpy.